only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
And welcome into Sactown Sports. Jason Ross, FP Jr., back with you here, taking over the next couple of hours. Did you make as much money today as Mr. Nick Bosa did?
Let me think. $50 million signing bonus? I did not. Shoot.
Niner fans, today's a good day. Took a while to get there. Probably a little too long. We were getting to that, no, don't panic. I was getting there. I was getting close to panicking. I'm not a panicker, but the news, about an hour ago or so, Bosa back with the 49ers.
It feels like when you were given a project in school or something, and it was like building up and building up. You're like, oh, man, it's like 2 weeks away. Oh, it's 1 week away. Oh, it's a couple days away. We should probably get together and finally start this group project. And somebody just did the whole thing for you.
Yeah.
And you're done.
You wasn't that guy in the group?
I kind of was, but wasn't. It depended on how fun the group project was, I think. But that's the feeling. It's relief, right? Like, oh, man, this thing's been hovering over me for so long as a Niners fan. And I'm sure just Niner fans in general. And finally, it's solved. Nick Bosa, the guy with 18 and a half sacks last season, is coming back, and he's going to be ready for Sunday.
Yeah. Woo! He's been Rookie of the Year, last year Defensive Player of the Year. If not the best player on the team, whatever, you can debate it. Him, Trent Williams, if you want to go another position player. But he's so important. The defense was number one last year, but he sets up everything. And having him back puts this team that is a Super Bowl contender right back in that mix.
It does. Right back in the mix. There's a few question marks with the special teams on Sunday, but I'm just going to forget about that until it becomes a problem because the defense is fully loaded now. You're going to have everybody there on Sunday against a pretty good Steelers team that we're going to talk about a bunch today.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to kind of take a close look at them, like with respect. Respect the enemy coming up an hour from now. Can you give you more details on what to expect from Pittsburgh? Also, Jerry Dulac, who knows everything about this team, will join us in the 5 o'clock hour. And a sneaky, tough opener, I would say. I mean, I don't even know why it should be sneaky. Pittsburgh finished hot last year, just missed on the playoffs. Remember, they needed like 8 things to go right on week 18 last year, FP, and 7 of the 8 happened. They almost got in, but they had yet another winning record, and they think they've got it put together this year.
Yeah, it's looking like it. I mean, people are stepping up, and anytime like you can bet against Mike Tomlin, don't.
Right.
Just because he always, no matter what the roster is, and he finally does have a good roster this year, he's going to put it together a bunch of guys that are going to compete no matter what. And they're always ready early in the season, too. Yeah. Historically, the last 2 years, the Niners haven't had slow starts. So as a Niners fan, it wouldn't be the end of the world if they lost the first game, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility where I think the Niners are 2-point favorites as the last time I checked. But this weekend, I mean, the Niners, they could lose.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, Pittsburgh's a tough place to play, a quality team, very good defense. If their offense is good as it was in the preseason, certainly something to watch for. So we've got a lot on the Niners certainly today. Certainly the latest news on Bosa getting his 5-year, $170 million extension. I think reports have it around 122 of guaranteed, which is the real money here. So we'll get into that. We got week 1 starting tomorrow. We got Giants at Wrigley, another loss just wrapped up 8-2. So we'll get into that too today. I still have to do kind of like a mental check on you though. Last time we were together, the Trey Lance news happened, and it was very interesting live radio, and you went places during that day. You recovered. You had some time to process it. He's no longer a 49er. He's a Cowboy. You good with this all now?
Yeah, thanks I appreciate you checking in on me, Jason. It's getting better every day. Okay. You know, it still happened.
Yeah.
And because it happened, it'll always happen.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
And hopefully
he hasn't taken a snap as a Cowboy.
Yeah, not yet. There's not a lot of news I've heard about Trey Lance, so I think that helps a bunch. The Jimmy Garoppolo thing kind of scared me when he came out and said there's been a lot of weird situations over there. So it's like, here we go again. Is this going to become a thing? So that kind of ignited the fear again. But I think I'm okay until we get to that week 5 matchup, Sunday Night Football with the Cowboys. After that, I think it's going to be smooth sailing, but we'll see. Yeah. There's always that little thought in the back of my head, which I didn't want to be there. I just want to focus on a great 49er season. I didn't want to have to pay attention to the Cowboys. It looks like I'm going to have to a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be there. There should be a team in the mix in the NFC, and a little bit later, too. We'll kind of talk about the best of week 1, non-Niners, like other games to watch, but the Cowboys think they have a good team. They're going to have to try to back that up, and I'm so glad the NFL's here tomorrow officially. Thursday Night Football.
Nothing else matters.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard for me to care about anything else besides football tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And it's the Lions and Chiefs. Like, Niners fans don't like Chiefs.
Right.
Like, but it's football.
And it's Mahomes. It's like the Super Bowl champs. Like the Lions, I thought were a weird pairing. I know they've got some love last year and they had a better finish, but you really could put anybody on the first game and everybody's watching.
I'd watch anything right now. I'd watch the Commanders and Bears play. And I'd be super fired up about it, which I think they do play.
That's
season.
a pretty tough one. Like, what would be, as you said that, I'm thinking, like, what would be universally the most unappealing season opener? Houston might be in there.
Houston and maybe Commanders. Houston
that'd be up there.
Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Just because Tampa Bay is pretty much
here. Brady's gone. Mayfield's in there, I guess.
Colts.
Carolina.
Carolina's got the young QB aspect to it. Same thing with the Texans, though.
Yeah.
So
well, we got the big boys, though, playing tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll tell you a few games later, though, that we should be checking out.
Okay,
still.
Good. I look forward to that. That's coming up in the 3:00 hour. So let's kind of resurface and we'll go back to the top story, though. Bosa is in. That's official. It broke a little bit about an hour ago. And I think when people weren't nervous, let's do a comp right now, FP, to Pittsburgh. 2 years ago, TJ Watt signs 2 days before the start of the season. He goes to Buffalo. I think played 69 of the 85 snaps and had 2 sacks that day, made some plays as he always did, and went on to win Defensive Player of the Year. So I think in the position, also the way Bosa keeps himself in shape, I don't know what he's been doing, but the Bosas are just genetically weird and wired, and he'll be ready to play Sunday.
He will be. And one thing that always stood out to me is when you hear other players talk about a guy, everybody would always talk about Nick Bosa being just freakishly strong, like naturally strong on top of weightlifting. And he was flexible, which means he can just get around corners and edges that other guys can't. He's just a unicorn. So the unicorn is going to be playing on Sunday, and I expect him to show out and just be the regular Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
He's taking care of his body. He's not trying to just show up to work late and just not perform well. Like he's been involved in this whole entire process. He's been texting guys on the team, right? I'm sure he's getting information through people. He knows the game plan, I'm sure, whether they want to admit that or not. And I think they're getting him into the facility as soon as possible. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he's rolling up right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new defensive coordinator, but I can't imagine when you were the number one defense for the last couple of years or near the top that you change scheme that much. And I don't want to say it's as simple as, hey, watch the pre-snap and go after the quarterback, but that's kind of what he does.
Get the guy with the football.
Right?
Just hurt him.
Yeah.
Hurt him very badly.
Yeah. I mean, he does it. He does it effectively with single coverage, double coverage, triple coverage, running backs in to protect, running the other way from him, running at him. He's seen everything.
He'll be
ready.
Yeah, he's going to be ready.
Yeah.
And I think 5 years. Okay, can we talk about the 5 years? What is the Niners window now? That the deal is 5 years. Is it the 5 years that Nick Bosa is there? Because I think they're always going to have a dynamic defense with Nick Bosa around, just because there's going to be so much attention on him on that offensive line that it's going to really open up a lot of things for that defense. But is it a 5-year window? We've been talking about a 2 to 3 year window just because of all the gaudy contracts we've seen with Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey. Ayuk's got to get paid soon. I mean, things are starting to look like I don't want to be a bearer of bad news almost, but it's almost looking like the Rams situation where, they did win a Super Bowl. So that's awesome. But after the Super Bowl, it was kind of like
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to it. I feel like it hinges a bit on Purdy in multiple ways. One, if he becomes the guy that they like now and still is into that rookie contract and then extend, that's probably a good sign because he will have done well in whatever amount of time that is. Or are you still in a championship window? You think he's been good and you then strike for, I don't know, Trevor Lawrence or someone who's played a little bit more that has more decorated that you Justin Herbert or whoever you're trying to
Kirk
get.
Cousins.
Sure.
That's been thrown out a bunch just because he's almost done with his contract.
Right.
And has
that probably makes more sense than my example.
But I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So I feel like to your point, I think the defense, Bosa, all that will be good or should be around him. And they have still some other good young skill players, some aging ones too. But I feel like they're just going to keep pushing that down the line and keeping that window open as long as they can.
And that's what you got to do as a GM in the situation. And the caps, everybody's worried about the salary cap. It keeps on growing every single year because, believe it or not, the NFL makes a lot of money.
Yeah, it's worked out for them.
It has worked out for them. And I've seen a lot of questions on Twitter and around social media. Why is there a salary cap to begin with? Well, it's to make sure that you don't pay these guys hundreds of millions of dollars each, right?
Yeah.
And so that way the
best team.
Yeah, so that way you could don't buy the best team,
yeah,
right? And the owners don't lose money,
right?
So that's why you have
I
the
feel
salary
for
cap.
those owners.
I
Poor
know.
guys. Yeah.
I know. Poor Jed York today.
Yeah.
Just dishing out $50 million signing bonus like nothing.
I know at this point, Bosa, and that family's wealthy. I mean, his brothers made money. That family is well taken care of. And I root for everybody to get the bag. That's awesome. But I still got to believe for anybody, even if you came from money, but probably more specifically if you didn't, that first time you receive a check or a statement, I guess, or a direct deposit, I mean, that's just got to be unreal.
I wonder what like bank he uses, if it's like the Bank of America app or Wells Fargo or whatever, and he just like is refreshing, like, oh, yep, it just hit. Everybody check it out.
How's your day going?
50 million more.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, not a big deal. Hey, you guys want to grab dinner?
Yeah.
Let's go find the best steak restaurant in the place.
And I don't know that we've seen, like the famous contract from baseball, Bobby Bonilla Day, July 1st. Like, be kind of cool to have that too, like for 35 something years, like always getting some sort of money just for here and to seemingly eternity.
I know. I wish that was like that for football players. Yeah. It just doesn't seem like they
got to get it now.
Yeah, it's not the sport conducive to that, and they don't have the contract where it's fully guaranteed, right? Even though a lot of this was guaranteed.
Yeah, 122.5 million guarantee, which is a ton. 170 overall, making him the highest paid defensive player ever until the next guy becomes available.
That makes me really happy for NFL players, because I know historically in the past that money wasn't guaranteed.
Yeah.
Like it just became a new thing to get guys to come to your team as an incentive. Like, hey, we're going to guarantee a lot of the contract.
Right.
Because previously, like if you miss snaps, you miss games to injury, that's a lot of money coming out of your paycheck.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Meanwhile, FP, a running back today probably got an $11 raise.
Oh,
just
man, the poor running backs.
Different guys. Hey, your Sacramento State Hornets kick off the 2023 football season at home. Their home opener, at least, this Saturday, September 9th. Kickoff is at 7. Get your tickets at hornetsports.com and Stingers Up. All right, when FP and I come back, we'll look at the 49ers offseason. Obviously, we are waiting and waiting and waiting for Bosa. That was a big deal. That's finally signed. But some other moves will grade the Niners offseason. We'll do that next.
The first ever NBA in-season tournament schedule is out, and our Kings have some great matchups, including national TV games against the Spurs and Warriors.
And Sacramento has won. They have risen to the occasion. And let me tell you, if you can't sense it, this place is absolutely nuts.
Listen to every game on the home of the Kings, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Okay, next time you're at the store, I dare you to not think about the unmistakable fresh, clean scent of Irish Spring. Yeah, you heard me. I want you to resist picturing a shower filled with those sensational Irish Spring suds. And if you succeed, well, you got what my gramps used to call resolutitude. Not a real word, but let's be honest, you're probably going to end up leaving with Irish Spring because of its irresistible scent and because you have zero resolutitude. Pick up Irish Spring today.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up autosave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools, one bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Autosave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Sactown Sports.
That's right. Remember that. Every 49er game on right here, Sactown Sports, including Sunday's season opener on the road against Pittsburgh. Got much more on that game later in the show. Coming up at 5 o'clock, Jerry Dulac from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette and also the Steelers Radio Network will join myself and FP. I'm looking forward to that. He's dialed in on a lot of things, Pittsburgh.
He is, and he's going to give great perspective on the Nick Bosa situation, how it relates to TJ Watt, and that's why we originally had him on.
Yeah, and then boom.
And then boom. So this is perfect timing.
Yes. Hopefully you got all of that. We went to break. We heard a beep and then a little flicker of the lights. We went out for a moment, but I think we're back up and running.
Yeah, I think there's some power outage.
Yeah.
But the good thing about working at a radio station is you always have to be on air.
Yeah.
Because I think of national emergency broadcasts. So there's a lot of power generators here.
Yes.
So we're good.
Yeah. You've worked. Yeah, we think you worked in multiple places. I know. Were you I know when you say when the pandemic started, I'm talking about like when it was lockdown.
Oh yeah.
Were you at home or were you at different, the sports station or station in the Bay or?
That's a good question. I was actually an essential worker just because of any sort of national emergency.
Yeah.
We had to be on air.
Did you get the note? Did you get the letter or whatever?
Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah. So I was actually at the station at NBC Sports Bay Area when I was working there.
Yeah.
And we had to go in. We had our little sections and the masks and all that stuff. And definitely a time to be alive.
Yes.
Not a good or bad, but a time.
Yeah. My biggest memory, or one of my memories from that, was one of the first days. There's a couple weeks really early on where like nobody was out and about. Like you said, where essential workers have to come in. And our station of the 4 in here was the main one really still coming in. But I was working mornings and still am. But I was coming in, and literally my drive is 8 miles, maybe 10 minutes in the morning. And at that early, 4:30 or 5, you don't see many cars, but there was one morning FP. I didn't see one. Not a light in the distance, not one on the same side of the road. And I thought, okay, I know it's shut down, but like, did I miss something else overnight? And that was really eerie.
It was really eerie. And I was in San Francisco. That's where the NBC Sports studios are.
Yeah.
So it was almost like I Am Legend stuff.
Yes,
where there's
right.
nobody walking around.
Nobody here?
If somebody saw you, they like walk across the street.
Right.
This is like when there was a lot of question marks.
Sure.
Right?
We didn't know a lot of stuff.
Didn't know a lot of stuff. No cars. You can like yell down a street at echo. It was crazy surreal. Just crazy surreal stuff. So yeah, the power going out kind of reminded me of that a little bit, because funny enough, a lot of people don't know this, but behind the scenes, practically anything that could go wrong has gone wrong, especially during COVID.
Yeah.
Especially during the lockdown period, just because they're just trying to figure out ways not to get people together. So they're using like backroom technology, programs, engineering, just to get something on air. And then something would go on air and something would be mute. Like a mic wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
It felt like college radio all over.
Trial and error and just going through it in real time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what we're doing now.
Yeah. Well, we are doing, talking about this 49er team that, I've seen over-unders at 10, 11, 12, 13 wins. Expectations. I mean, I think this is a team that should be good, was good a year ago. Coaching staff, for the most part, is back. They've settled in on Brock Purdy, and then made some offseason moves. So if we kind of look at it piece by piece, the offseason moves, let's kind of start at that quarterback position. So by settling in on Purdy, you also acquired Darnold and Allen as well, but it made it a 4 quarterback room, and we've now known they've moved on from Trey Lance. They had to eat that a little bit. They've had to wear that. Where do you kind of grade that in an offseason move that the Niners have made?
I would give the Niners offseason a solid B+ right now. Just
overall, or in that quarterback room?
Well, in that quarterback room, I'd probably give it a C.
Okay.
Right. And maybe even in the D territory, just because you gave up so many draft picks to Trey Lance. The only saving grace there and why it's a higher grade is because you landed on Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy that they were able to find a quarterback that it meets all their needs, really, right? And just has that confidence in the pocket and can actually make things happen at the very end of the draft. That's going to be a story for years if Brock Purdy becomes anything.
Yeah.
So that's the saving grace and why it's not an F.
Yeah.
Because the way the Trey Lance situation went down, it transpired. It remains to be seen, right? Because if Trey Lance, again, does anything with the Cowboys, there's going to be hell to pay. Really, there is. Even though people called and it was kind of 50-50.
Right.
There's people like, I don't care, whatever. It's just a transaction. Both teams got better. We don't see them till the playoffs anyways. And then other people were like, Dallas, like me. What the heck? Dallas? Anybody but Dallas. Like the Seahawks, Dallas, Raiders? No way. So I think it was probably like a C- D+.
Okay.
What do you have it?
Yeah, I think, again, like life, it's all in how you look at things, right? I think that's pretty tough to take about the Trey Lance situation. But then how do you look at it? You could argue finding Purdy for a Super Bowl caliber team on the last pick, when at the time, I mean, you had Jimmy G, you had Trey Lance. It's like it almost didn't, and Sudfeld was still here. Like, I don't even know if you need Brock Purdy, but they did. And I mean, it's really could end up being an amazing story. So it's like, it feels like it has, like there's maybe more of an F with Lance, but an A with Purdy. So C kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that's where I'm landing too. I'm landing a little bit more towards C- just because of the Cowboys trade.
It's incomplete in some sense.
Exactly. If Trey Lance got traded anywhere else, I'm giving him a solid C. It's a C- right now for me.
Yeah. So to me, the end result of that is, where does Lance go from here? And Purdy, like if Purdy blossoms, and even if Lance is pretty good, like that's fine. You're worried about Purdy now. But if Purdy falls short and maybe Darnold's not the answer, then all of a sudden that grade starts to starts to regress.
Yeah, if Trey Lance beats the Niners in any capacity at any single, like whether it's the regular season or postseason, that's going to be
postseason.
Postseason would be nuts.
Yeah,
let's be honest. But we got a long time to think about that.
For sure. Okay, so they land Bosa finally. Now again, it's the end result. Like it feels like F. Oh wow, paid him the most amount of money. He's here. He's ready to go week 1. That's an A, and it feels like it flipped that quickly because. What's taking so long? Or maybe you're holding him out of camp. He's going to hurt somebody, get hurt himself. Okay, now why is he not here? Well, now he is. And so does it flip as quickly to an A on that?
Yeah, they crushed it defensively. I mean, they got really deep in the secondary. They really fortified the defensive line. And then Bosa, they got that done. Thank goodness. You don't really have to worry about the defense at this point now if you're a Niners fan. Just keep everybody healthy, and hopefully you can make the postseason, right? Just keep guys healthy.
It's funny how a lot of these things get worse before they get better because nobody seemed to be worried. And then, like in the last 2 days, there were like, there's a wide gap. They're far apart. I'm like, oh, wait, is this really in trouble?
There was something this morning from Ian Rappaport where he was like, it's really far apart. And now Nick Bosa's status for Sunday is in jeopardy. And I saw that. I'm like, wow, this is a great way to wake up on a Wednesday.
Yeah. And then boom.
Yeah, and then I was talking to, I think, somebody out in the hallway, and they're like, it got done. And I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, there we go. Signed and sealed. They added Hargrave to the defensive line. I feel good about that. Obviously, we need to see him now with Bosa and Armstead and everyone else they have up front. Feels like a good signing. Also taking him away from Philadelphia.
Yeah, taking away from Philadelphia, it felt good.
Yeah.
It felt good. If you look at it from a GM standpoint, it makes a lot of sense and it makes the team better. But if you think about it from a fanatic standpoint, taking anything from Philadelphia after what happened, in the NFC Championship game and Purdy getting hurt and they're still rubbing it in Niners faces.
Yeah.
Niners fans' faces. You're like, come on, man. Like, it wasn't a fair shot. Like, if everybody's healthy, like, well, they got to him and that's how football is. And it's true. But, I think that rematch is going to be extra spicy when they play the Eagles this season.
For sure. That's a big game coming up later in the year. All right, then 3rd round pick, drafting Jake Moody. I don't love that. And he may be great. And if he's great, then that's fine. I'll eat my words on that. FP, I don't love taking a kicker. I just don't.
Yeah, that high especially.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of confidence in that pick because they hit so well with Wisnowski, I believe it is his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the punter from Australia, right? And he's like one of the best, right? But
that's what
NFL.
Moody has to be now.
Yeah, so they were expecting Moody to be something like that, right?
Yeah.
Where he's gonna come out there, just be nails and get a really good kicker on a rookie contract because they didn't want to pay Robbie Gould again with just all the ridiculous contracts I listed off in the previous segment. But all the skill positions that they're paying.
But Gould was trusted.
Yeah, Gould is trusted. Yeah. So I'm very curious to see about that. But as a Niners fan right now, and as I'm going into this, I'm thinking, okay, that's going to be a problem when it happens, right? If Jake Moody gets a big opportunity to make a kick on Sunday and it doesn't happen, okay, you can address that early in the season and figure that out.
Right.
It's better to figure out now rather in the middle of the season, right? When you're like scrambling for a kicker
for sure
because somebody's hurt, heaven forbid, or because, they get the yips, which happens all the time. And if you don't know what the yips are, that's just the condition that the psychological condition that you can't perform at your best because you're starting to think about the doubts, right?
Can't have that as an athlete with confidence. You just don't want that shaken at all.
You do not. And that's the worst position, I think, in sports to probably get the yips as a kicker, just because that's your one job.
Yeah.
You just got to make it.
Yeah. And to me, I mean, I don't love it, but it's still incomplete because if he comes in and is great, makes the kicks, is a big part of their offense and a kicker really needs to be for like several years, then fine. But it just feels like that's a plug and play type of position.
Yeah, there's no development for kickers.
Right.
You're either good or you're not.
Are you making them when the lights are on?
And adios. I mean, John Lynch even said, like, my phone's blowing up as soon as we found out that Zane Gonzalez was hurt and Jake Moody was hurt. I got like 20 text messages from agents saying like, hey, my guy's ready to go. Yeah. So yeah, you got to be ready to perform.
Absolutely.
So he's got the opportunity. He's got to follow through.
Yeah, for sure. All right. He's FP Jr. I'm Jason Ross. We are back with more when we come back. Another loss in Wrigley for the Giants. They got 10 hits today. They only got 2 runs. What's going on in the free fall with the San Francisco Giants? Much more on the Niners and Bosa's extension. We've got all that and more straight ahead here on SactownSports.com.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
Who do they decide on for the Super Bowl?
What do you mean, halftime act?
Yeah. I know that Taylor Swift.
Yeah, turned him down, right?
At what point do people turn on Taylor Swift and be like, why don't you lower your prices? And I understand the whole Ticketmaster thing, but what about the merch? Like, legit, do you have to make $1 billion? Could you make $500 million be? Could you?
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
Happy 62nd birthday, Granddad.
Thanks, sweetheart.
I got you this.
A mug. Oh, thank you. What does it say? Beware. If you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of hospitalization from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
Only one radio program captures the excitement of hunting and fishing as it happens. The award-winning California Sportsman with Sep Hendrickson. Only California Sportsman takes you where the action is, live on the water, live in the blind, and live with the top pros and experts in outdoor sports. California Sportsman with Fishing Hall of Famer Sep Hendrickson is your premier destination for all things outdoors. Sep's Saturday Morning Outdoors. Ultimate Bass and California Sportsman, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. Saturdays on Sactown Sports 1140.
Your three-time defending Big Sky Conference champions, the Sacramento State Hornets, are back at Hornet Stadium this Saturday, September 9th. It's Kids Day with fun for the whole family, and stick around after the game with post-game fireworks. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. Get your tickets now at hornetsports.com. Don't miss any of the action this year as the Hornets swarm the Big Sky in search of a fourth straight Big Sky championship. Get your tickets now at hornetsports.com. That's hornetsports.com. Stingers up.
This is the Silver and Black Report, brought to you by ACR Solar and Home Services. How do you compete in a division where you have the least decorated quarterback and the coach with the fewest wins amongst the group? Well, the Silver and Black will attack it with some high-level talent. The 13th annual Top 100 Players, as voted by the players, featured 3 members of the Silver and Black, and the rankings were impressive. Max Crosby landed at 17, wideout Devontae Adams 13, and running back Josh Jacobs at 12. It will take more than these 3 to rack up wins, but this team did make the playoffs in 2021. That's your Silver and Black Report, brought to you by ACR Solar. Summer is so great for many things, but it's also a great time to get your home evaluated for solar. And while you're at it, make sure that roof on your house, it's in good shape. ACR Solar and Home Services would love to meet you and show you the kind of quality you can expect from ACR. I went to ACR Solar, and I could not be happier with the work that they did on our roof. So go to acrsolar.com and start your savings today. ACR Solar and Home Services, quality, value, and integrity since 1979.
Get to Acura of Stockton, where precision-crafted performance is at your fingertips. Elevate your driving experience with a vehicle that's built to impress. Acura of Stockton has a great selection of new Acuras and customer service that will exceed your expectations. And right now, lease a new Acura TLX, MDX, or Integra with low lease rates available. Take luxury to a whole new level in a new Acura from Acura of Stockton. See all our inventory and specials at acuraofstockton.com.
Get ready for a night with Cole Swindell. The 2023 ACM Song of the Year winner hits Heart Health Park at Cal Expo in Sacramento, Saturday, September 9th for the CITP2 Fest. And Cole's bringing some friends like Chris Chanson, Dylan Scott, Matt Stell, and more. Tickets start at $40 at CITPFest.com.
This is Kenny and Jerry from Bell Brothers, the No Surprise Guys. If you're thinking about replacing your heating and cooling system, now is the perfect time to take action.
It's the end of summer, which means the AC season is winding down. We've still got a warehouse full of premium, high-efficiency AC systems, and we'd rather sell them at a discount than let them just sit there over the winter.
That's why we're offering this first ever end of summer discount of up to $3,500 off qualifying AC and heat pump systems.
No gimmicks, no games. Just a great price for buying now instead of later. If you got a quote elsewhere, we'd be happy to give you a second opinion.
Call Bell Brothers for details and get up to $3,500 off any qualifying AC and heat pump system. Our number is 916-444-1234 or online at thenosurpriseguys.com. That's 916-444-1234 or thenosurpriseguys.com.
The No Surprise Guys, Bell Brothers.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sactown Sports.
Nick Bosa is in. He got the bag, 5 years, $170 million. Man, great news there for the 49ers as they get ready to start the season this weekend. Jason Ross, FP Jr. here on Sactown Sports, SactownSports.com. Also our website. Check out all our articles and pieces that we have there. Certainly check us out on our YouTube. And while you're there today, thank you for viewing. Hit that thumbs up button. One, it makes us feel good. And two, it just kind of helps the algorithms. And I don't know how that all works, but we just need the thumbs up is what we need. I'm begging for it.
Yeah, I like thumbs up in real life. Like if I'm changing lanes or something and someone gives me a thumbs up.
Someone gives you a thumbs up.
I
do
do
get another digit.
I do that sometimes.
You give someone a thumbs up.
Yeah, thanks for helping me merge. If somebody gives me enough open room to merge on the freeway, I just thank you. Thumbs up.
Maybe I'm doing like a little wave or a head nod, but
yeah.
thumbs up, okay. I might start using that one.
Yeah, and then when I really disapprove, I'm not a big middle finger guy.
Yeah.
I'm a big thumbs down because that's just like when your parents tell you I'm not mad, I'm disappointed.
Right.
That's
gets
that
to the
vibes.
heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just
that guy, that picture was at Yankee Stadium a few years ago, or was the guy just standing behind the net? He's just, I just love that picture. He's like not yelling.
Yeah.
He's just not, there's no real facial expression. He's just like, don't approve.
I've done that before.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you. And he just keeps the thumbs down and just looking at him. Like, it's perfect. It's a good meme.
Yeah, it is a great meme. And it's just a human expression.
Yes.
Just give somebody a thumbs down. If somebody just cut you off,
Yeah.
Get beside them at the light and just shake your head and give a thumbs down.
Yeah. Because usually they're expecting, like, they're going to honk at me, yell at me. It's like, no, just nope.
Yep.
Don't approve.
Yeah, just give the thumb. Don't give the finger. So,
I think we would be thumbs down right now on the Giants. What's going on, FP? You know this team. You follow this team. Another loss today. They just wrapped up at Wrigley, 8-2. So another thumbs down for them.
Yeah, they're 70 on the season. They're 500. Bailey's headed to the IL probably with a concussion situation. It's all bad right now, and it's very unfortunate because the offseason really had a weird vibe to it, of course, with Carlos Correa. And you had the whole Aaron Judge situation.
Yeah, close on Judge.
Didn't close on those guys. Correa is just starting to have a better season now.
But in hindsight, are they better off? Or, I mean, that's a long-term deal, so we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know just yet. But as it looks like, they didn't have great years this year. And Aaron Judge got hurt. He had a freak accident.
Yeah,
so.
no, I think Judge me, but I mean more on the Correa part.
Yeah, the Correa part, he's had a lot of opportunities, and he's really underperformed this year. But maybe he's just figuring it out. And it looks like they are making a push, the Twins organization is, so into a playoff spot. But as a whole, just being a Giants fan right now, it's frustrating, right? I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to play Mr. Positive. The Giants organization is great, fantastic. They do a lot of things correct. But right now, they can't make a correct move. They're trying. They're pushing extremely hard, and nothing is working. That's got to be the worst feeling in the world, right? And if you're in that clubhouse and you're trying to do rah-rah speeches and they work one night and then you go back to your old ways just because the offense isn't picking up, or maybe the bullpen's been overused now just because of all those opener games and all the situations of a close game, it's catching up to them. And I think a big part we can always circle to is just the trade deadline. I've always viewed the trade deadline in all sports, not just baseball, as a momentum builder or to keep the momentum going. If you don't make a move there that doesn't rally the troops, you've pretty much lost the clubhouse or the locker room or whatever sport. And I don't know if the guys knew AJ Pollock and they knew, forget who else came with them, but
Pollock's already gone now.
Yeah, but Pollock's already been DFA'd.
Yeah.
And he's gone and he's out of the situation. I think he was actually released. So it's a very strange season. There's a lot of high highs and a lot of low lows, and it's just a very streaky team to begin with.
Yeah.
The defense never really helped out the pitching staff. I think the defense is 28th in Major League Baseball when it comes to fielding percentage. And if you're a Giants fan right now, you have a right to be frustrated, straight up. Like, I wish I could say, like, well, think about the young guys. Well, the young guys, you have a weird platoon situation with the San Francisco Giants where they're playing a lot sometimes and then they get sent down to AAA. And it's almost like you don't realize that they need to just play every day for better or worse. And if you're going to commit to the rebuild, commit to it, be horrible for a season and let these young guys get at bats at the big league level, because I personally believe that the leap from AAA to the big leagues right now is the biggest gap probably in years.
Why is that?
Just the pitching at the big league level is so elite, and you're seeing like guy with stuff, control, and he can pick you apart in 7 different ways. And then you see another guy like that from a different slot and a different arm angle. In AAA, those guys aren't there.
Yeah.
You have the stuff guys, but maybe they're missing an aspect. Maybe they're missing a pitch. Maybe
and you might get them once in a series, maybe.
Yeah, and you're not just getting bombarded with just A+ stuff all the time, right? And then it's just a different level of baseball completely. So when you have like just always bringing guys up and down, it's frustrating as a fan because maybe you want to really hit your wagon onto Helio Ramos and he goes up and down a bunch. I can understand the frustration with that.
Sure. Well, and I feel like, and I don't know if maybe the Giants were guilty of this a little bit. I feel like you kind of need to have a plan and then commit to it, to your point where, are you going to play the young guys? And then go for that, play that. And did they get a little bit tricked by some of their success? They had 2 really good streaks. And if we go back to right before they played the A's, so it's August 3rd, FP, they beat Arizona. They sweep Arizona. Take 3 of 4. They're 61-49. So at that point, they didn't make the big move at the deadline, but it's like, hey, we're 12 games above 500. We're not only in the wild card race, we could maybe even somehow, at that time, the Dodgers weren't totally flourishing yet, and then they totally took off, but maybe even win a division, something like that, to now 9-21 since. Are you more of this team, a 500 team that didn't now keep playing the young guys, tried with the older guy? Like, it's just, they didn't stick to a plan, I didn't feel like.
I don't think they really could have because of injuries. That's
part of it,
that's
too.
another aspect. And again, I don't mean to sound like I'm criticizing the organization like too harshly here, but when you sign a lot of guys with injury history, surprise, they're going to get injured.
Right, it happens.
And it happened. A whole bunch of guys were signed this offseason with injury history. Mitch Haniger and Anthony DeSclafani got injured. And I think that really just...
Who else? Conforto got hurt.
Conforto, JD Davis got hurt. Brandon Crawford's gotten hurt a bunch. Now Bailey, like it's a lot of bad luck, but it's a lot of like just weird things happening too. And I've mentioned this before on air. When you do stuff unorthodox as an organization and you win, it's the greatest thing ever. Right? You're like, oh my God, they're changing the game. This is awesome. We're so smart. We can do anything. The San Francisco Giants can do anything. This is great. But when they do it, they lose and they're doing things unorthodoxly.
Yeah.
Well, they're going to be criticized pretty harshly because everyone is finding success the old school way or the normal way where guys are playing every day. I mean, you look at the Atlanta Braves. They have like 6 or 7 players that have played every game this season.
They lock in that lineup, which, oh, by the way, is maybe one of the best in the history of baseball. They know what they're going to play, and they know they're going to play, and they're going to get their APs.
And how fun is that as a fan to know you're going to the baseball field, and you're going to see Ronald Acuna Jr.
Yep.
You're going to see Matt Olson play.
Right. There's Austin Riley. They're all in there.
I can buy a ticket, not follow the Braves, and I know I'm going to go see a great product, and I'm going to see my favorite player.
Yeah.
With the Giants, you don't get that.
Yeah, and I also don't know. So the argument could be, well, they just have better players. Well, you're allowing them to build the stats because you're letting them play. I mean, I think if you gave the Giants guys consistently 90% of the games played, they'll put up the numbers.
Yeah, you just got to let guys play and let guys be who they are, right? They're athletes at the end of the day. I think there's a lot of plugging and placing and matchups and this and that, and it's just it overcomplicates the situation. When you have some really good athletes, you just got to let them go and let them play. Imagine if you're listening in your car right now, you worked like 3 days a week, right? And you're expected to be great at your job. People are like, yeah, I could do that. That's
sounds good.
That's incredible. Yeah. But at a high skill job, right? When you really need the reps. Let's talk about it from golf, because a lot of people do play golf that are listening. Imagine if you played golf like once every 3 months and you expect to shoot 80. It's not going to happen. Maybe you're a freak athlete, but that's few and far between.
Yeah.
That's where I'm feeling the Giants are at right now. They just need to let guys play. They need to move on from their veterans, and they need to stop signing injured players or injury-prone players. And I think a lot of this cleans up.
I want to back your point up. So I'm just looking at the Braves really quickly. 8 players have not only played more than 100 games, they've played more than 110 of their games. And the 9th one is Sean Murphy, the catcher who they platooned. Not even platoon, just getting some days off. He's at 96 games. So he's going to get there.
A catcher's fine, though.
Yeah, and the Giants, I think, are at 5. Let me make sure I have that right. But some are just scraping, just barely over 100. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, Jock Peterson just got to 100. Flores 107, Conforto 111, Lamont Wade 116, and then JD Davis 129.
Jason, do you feel like it kind of feels like fantasy baseball sometimes?
Yeah.
Where it, like
for them.
Well, I'm just saying for like watching this Giants team, it's like you're taking guys off the waiver wire.
Right.
You're inserting them. If it kind of feels like fantasy baseball at times, not like Major League Baseball as we've known it.
Right.
Right. And I've been trying to keep an open mind. I'm trying to still keep an open mind with the regime there, and I hope they figure it out. Like, I'm rooting for Farhan Zaidi and Gabe Kapler.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be a fan if you're rooting against the guys, right? And I know it's been difficult to watch and it's hard to follow the team because there's seemingly a new guy playing every single day. And it's very inconsistent when you turn on the TV. The only guys you can really write down are the starters, right? You can hitch your wagon to Logan Webb.
Right.
You can't really do that to any of the position players.
Yeah.
So it feels like fantasy baseball at times, and I get the frustration.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk more about that too coming up because the Giants still can save this. They really can, but they're going to have to get better here. They got the day off tomorrow. They come home for a series against Colorado. But more importantly, have they become less watchable than even the Oakland A's? We bring up that question and the future, as FB just mentioned, about Farhan Zahidi and Gabe Kapler. We've got that as we continue here on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
Will Christian McCaffrey lead the NFL in rushing? Can Sacramento's own Eric Armstead bring his game to another level?
Prescott back steps up in the pocket. He gets sacked. Back on the 15-yard line. Get in my belly.
Get in my
says
belly.
Eric Armstead.
Will rookie Jake Moody pick up where veteran kicker Ravi Gould left off? Find out on Whitey and Watkins every day at 11 a.m. during the 49ers Focus on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
At Ashton & Price, over the last 25 years, we've won just about every injury case you can think of. Slip and fall, falling merchandise, fell through rotted decking, we won those. Dangerous stairs, falls into holes, dog bites, won them. Injured while pedestrian or on a bicycle, auto, motorcycle, big rig, company vehicle, Uber, or Lyft accident, we've won them all. And the best news is there's no fee until you win. So no matter how you got injured,
remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
At Bank of America, there's one question we ask our customers to learn what matters most. It's not, how much money do you have? It's not even, how much money would you like to have? No, our question isn't about money. It's about you and what you want to achieve. Because that's what's most important. So, what would you like the power to do? Bank of America. Bank of America N.A., member FDIC, equal credit opportunity lender.
Cookie wants to be a professional wrestler.
I'm Cookie Serratos and I'm 11 years old.
She also wants to win all the medals. That's why Cookie and her family make every day count, squeezing out her best with Go-Go Squeeze.
Okay, Cookie, let's break for a Go-Go Squeeze.
Go-Go Squeeze Fruit on the Go pouches are a nutritious snack made from 100% fruit with no sugar added.
Go, Cookie!
Because when you nurture your kids, you squeeze out the best in them. Squeeze out the best with Go-Go Squeeze. Not a low-calorie food. Products range from 11 to 13 grams of sugar and 60 to 70 calories per serving.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here for American Energy Heating and Air. It's the end of summer blowout on all their systems. Right now, $2,500 off full systems, as low as $34 a week. And now American Energy Heating and Air offering a free Wi-Fi smart thermostat of your choice on high efficiency units. Look, the uncomfortable becomes comfortable with American Energy Heating and Air. They've been around since 1981, making the greater Sacramento area proud with an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. And as always, their goal is to exceed your expectations, exceed them of the heating and air industry, valuing the customer experience and making your home comfortable. It's that simple. Go to American Energy Heating and Air and get yourself a free Wi-Fi smart thermostat of your choice on high efficiency units.
Call 916-520-9998 now.
Labor Day, our annual celebration of workers and their achievements, was first observed in New York, and the first Monday in September became a national holiday in 1894. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. Each year we commemorate Labor Day with parades, picnics, and family gatherings. And right now, Naturewood Home Furnishings is celebrating with their exceptional whole store Labor Day sale. Would you like to refresh your living room? Would you like to restyle your bedroom? Maybe you want to redesign your home office. No matter whether it's your dining room, kids' rooms, accents, or accessories, Naturewood's unique store-wide Labor Day sale offers savings in every department and savings on every brand like Stanton, Omnia, England, Stickley, Flex Steel, and all the rest of the award-winning furniture. When it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable Labor Day sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
Guys, your testosterone level impacts your energy, drive, weight, hair loss, and even ED. Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your T level for free. For your free T level check, exam, and consultation, call 916-277-8599 or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Imagine it's the last ride, but your symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, are taking you for a ride. What should you do? Keep managing your constipation with belly pain the same old way? Or try getting ahead of your symptoms by talking to your doctor about treating it with Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Your new home for 49ers football in the 916, Sactown Sports.
And being the home of the 49ers, you're going to hear a lot more hurries, pressures, QB hits, sacks by Nick Bosa, who officially has signed 5 years, $170 million. Isn't he like 24, 25, something like that?
Let me check real quick.
Man,
I got his Football Reference page up.
What a good life he's living right now.
25 years old.
He is the old man at 25.
Hey, you know what they say? You'll make your money when you're older.
Yeah, how does he do that? Right? He peaked at 25, but that's all right. That's a good peak. Good for him. Good for the Niners. A little stressful, but should be good to go. We got some sound coming up later from Kyle Shanahan, who did speak today and was asked directly about the snaps and would he be ready to go. So good news for the Niners today.
Great news.
Yeah.
You should be just walking around, driving around, be at your work from home situation.
Yeah,
just
put your Bosa jersey on.
Yeah, just,
flaunt it.
Go outside, smell the flowers. It's great.
Life is good. So we got much more on that coming up, including a good conversation on the opponent this week, Pittsburgh. Jerry Dulac will join us at 5 o'clock, so look forward to that. All right, so we went to break. We were talking a little bit about the Giants. We're going to get much more into football coming up here. But you had even suggested before the show, like, look, you know what? The A's aren't very good, but they've kind of become more watchable even than the Giants. So it's not even worth comparing records because we know that's a landslide, even with the Giants' free fall here. But what makes you say that the A's, with what they're doing, might be more appealing than the Giants?
Well, first and foremost, the A's offense is a lot better.
And they're winning right now as we speak, 5-2.
Yeah, they're winning 5-2. And you got guys like Zach Geloff, and you have guys like, Lawrence Butler just getting called up, maybe part of the future, right?
Yeah.
The future core where they're hitting not home runs. I'm talking bombs.
Mm-hmm.
Like home runs that you go, wait a minute, who's that?
Yeah.
Where's
he been?
Where's he been?
Yeah.
Who's this kid? That's how far and exciting the home runs have been. So this team, they're producing. They're fun. They're scrappy, right? I mean, you have a guy in Tony Kemp that's been playing pretty much every single day. Who is my favorite player? Throw away his offensive stats because he's just having a tough season offensively. They'll be down like 10-0. I'm talking about the A's. In Tony Kemp, it'll be the 7th or 8th inning, maybe one out, whatever, down 10-0. Everyone's checked out of the game. You just see him fly to the corner of the screen, lay out, and make one of the most spectacular circus plays. And I think he leads Major League Baseball in diving and leaping plays this season. So that tells you just about the effort level is really exciting to see from veteran guys like Tony Kemp. And then you have these young guys that are just hitting balls that are ridiculous, right? And they're just an exciting offense, right? So there's a lot you can look forward to. But I think the A's are more watchable right now because the A's had no expectations this
Exactly.
season.
We knew this was going to happen.
You knew everybody got traded away. You knew this was going to happen. There was no surprises. You didn't have to worry about a playoff push. It wasn't going to happen. The Giants situation, it's frustrating because the Giants were supposed to be this playoff contending team. 2 seasons ago, they won 107 games.
Yeah.
Now they're in a free fall at 70-70. As soon as one thing goes bad as a Giants fan, you're like, all right, I got to turn this off.
Yeah. I think to me, in any season, the worst thing that can happen when a season ends, forget the record, is to feel like it was unfulfilled in finding out facts. Like you want it to be a fact-finding mission. So if you're the A's, forget about Vegas. All that they can't control, the organization as far as the player personnel. But you're hoping to find some of the young guys that you're talking about. So for them, they hope they have some answers as the year ends. Like, yes, go forward with this player. No, that player not. This is the identity we want to build with this kind of group. The Giants, again, mix and match, veterans, young guys. Like, what's the 2023, the 2024 Giants going to look like? What's the plan now? And that's on, Kapler, if he's still there, and Zahidi, right?
I think this is like, I think it's like a weird condition sports fans have. If you're a fan of a franchise that's in a rebuild, it's almost like you're playing with house money. It's like, oh yeah, I'll turn them on. This is fun and exciting. I'll see how they.
This is what the future could be.
This is what the future could be. This is great. This is fun, right? If it's a lot of years in a row, it's not fun. But if you're in the Oakland situation, right, where they have a really good front office, they scout really well, and they have talent within their farm system, you can watch this season with no expectations, and you're just hoping they figure out the Vegas situation, right?
Yeah.
That's the only thing. If you took away the whole Vegas situation out, I think this would have been a great season for the A's overall.
Yeah.
But because of Jeff Fisher and the sell the team movement,
It's a mess.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a larger condition. If you have expectations set on a team, right? You're watching every single game with just so much intensity, hoping for the best, so that way you can go and tell everyone that isn't a fan of your team that they're going to do well. Example, 49ers fans. You're watching everything. We're worried about kickers and third-string quarterbacks here because they're Super Bowl ambitions. The roster's ready. You have a great GM. You have a great head coach. It's time. Maybe if you're a Bears fan, for example, you're watching it like, okay, let's see what Justin Fields can do. Who cares, right? It's almost like more of a relaxed viewing experience, right? Where it makes it more enjoyable. It's a very bizarre phenomenon. Have you ever experienced anything like that before?
I'm trying to find a parallel. I'm not sure. Yeah.
It's weird. I knew like when the Giants run was kind of over with a little bit after their 3 World Series dynasty, it was like, okay, this is house money now. Whatever.
Yeah.
And they had some really poor seasons. I'm wondering if Sacramento sports fans, and I'm trying to connect this with the Kings.
Sure.
Right. They had a good season this year. So now things are going to be a lot more intense this year.
Oh, yeah. Expectations have changed dramatically now.
Yeah. So it's fun, but it's stressful.
Exactly.
It's a lot more stressful.
Yeah.
So when things like you have high expectations and they're not met, it's like 10 times worse than having a team with no expectations.
Well, and that's where things can change. And I'm talking about jobs. So, Gabe Kapler, I think it does things differently. That could be perceived one way. It's like when things are going well, it's like he's thinking outside the box. He's kind of changing some things. This is working. When it's not, it's like, well, you know what? Baseball's been around for 100+ years, and some people have managed this certain style and it's worked for them. So, I think you have to be flexible and adjust to things, but also practical at times. And so, he's evaluated. Farhan's evaluated. You got to wonder, is that pairing going to go on?
That's a really good question. And I think the future is, I don't want to say they're on the hot seat, but if this gets even worse somehow and the Giants completely free fall and guys get hurt and it just gets ugly. I think there's a serious conversation to be had that some people may be on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Farhan Zaidi, his contract ends up, he had signed a 5-year contract in 2019. He's got an option this year. A lot of people just assume that was going to be automatic, give him another year. It's tough because you have a lot of decisions to make as an ownership group, as a front office, what you want to do. This guy, you might have heard of him, Shohei Ohtani. He's going to be a free agent.
Yes.
And it would be kind of a tough look to not have a head of baseball operations with a guy like Ohtani on the market.
With a generational talent. I know the injury right now, but still, you've got to be a team that's going after him.
And I don't think if you replace Gabe Kapler, anything's going to change because it's really Farhan's way or the highway.
Yeah.
Right. He wants things done a certain way. So he's going to bring in somebody that's just going to be another Gabe Kapler. Really.
So it's more on Farhan than Kapler at this moment.
Yeah, I think it's just the way the baseball operations are ran.
Yeah.
And again, this thing, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe Farhan knows more baseball than I've ever forgotten. This thing could turn around in a second. The Giants win 115 games.
Well, yeah. How do you, that's the one thing it's hard to explain. Like, get it when they won in 10, 12, 14. Some of the guys aged out a little bit, but just 2 years ago, like your point, in the history of the San Francisco Giants, that team won more games than anybody.
Yeah.
That's hard to understand.
You see a cycle in baseball always. It's always old school and then goes to new edge technology, data analytics. You even can go back to 2000 with the Moneyball A's with this, right? Then it goes back to the old ways. Then it goes to the new ways. Then it goes to the old ways. And you see, right now, baseball is in an old way cycle is winning. If you look at all the managers that have won the World Series in the past, 4 or 5 years, they're pretty old school.
Yeah, Dusty for sure.
If you get rid of the Dodgers 2020 World Series, right? Because Dave Roberts is pretty analytical. But you think about Dusty Baker, you think about Snedeker with the Braves, very old school. And then you think about trying to remember the Nationals manager. It's escaping me right now.
Was it Martinez?
Yes.
Dave Martinez.
Yeah, Dave Martinez. And you think about Davey Martinez, right? They're pretty old school with how they do things. And it works because it's baseball's a feel game.
Yeah.
Right? It's about like the temperature check. You know what? Something's telling me this guy's doing well. You know, he looks great. He's just like walking around the facility different. His confidence is through the roof. I'm going to go with that guy. I don't really feel like there's a lot of that going around maybe.
Around the Giants?
Yeah, around San Francisco. It's more about like, okay.
Numbers suggest this.
The numbers suggest this, and it's not taking into account what's going on in the guy's life.
Yeah. I think, I mean, I don't know. I like the marriage of both. The pairing. Like numbers should tell you. There is numbers in baseball that are utilized, but also, you know, feel is a big part of it.
It is a marriage. Yeah. And sometimes you have to have somebody to step up and go, hey, the numbers aren't making sense.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand where you're coming from, but this guy's like, he's got other stuff going on.
Yeah.
I don't care about this matchup today. I'm going to set him out.
Right.
Or, you know what? I got a feeling he's a veteran and he's done it in the past. He's going to get through this slump. I'm going to play him every day.
Got to do it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get rewarded. Well, we'll see where that goes, but another loss today for the Giants. As we said, the A's leading that game's in the 9th, 5-2 on Toronto. But a big day for the 49ers. They get Nick Bosa back. 5-year, $170 million season. When we come back, we're going to take a look at week one's opponent. Respect the enemy. Yes, we look at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Week one's opponent, that's coming up. I want to remind you as well, your Sacramento State Hornets have their home opener this Saturday, September 9th. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. Get your tickets at hornetsports.com and Stingers Up. FP and I are back with more right after this on Sactown Sports and Sactownsports.com.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
When Joe Montana retired, he was, of course, regarded as what? The greatest of all time. Many in this area, of course, and bless you if you're one of them, still consider Joe Montana the greatest of all time. Whatever.
Is that what people from Boston sound like to you?
I mean, 4-0's 4-0.
It's Whitey and Watkins from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sactown Sports.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life and your choices with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age, but there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find: happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
I suffered with plantar fasciitis for almost 20 years.
I thought that foot pain was going to be with me for the rest of my life.
If you suffer with plantar fasciitis, the search for pain relief can feel like an endless and hopeless ordeal.
I would try drugstore, insoles and supports.
I've been through surgeries, foot injections.
I was trying all different things. Not a single one worked.
If you think you've tried everything to relieve your foot pain, you probably haven't tried arch supports from the Good Feet store.
And then I was driving past the Good Feet store, and I thought, why not? Give it a try. They wanted to make sure that they gave me the right arch support for my feet. Then it was like, okay, this is different. These make a difference.
I don't have foot pain anymore. I'm so glad I met Good Feet. It changed my life.
See how Good Feet arch supports work for you before you buy with a free fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
The Good Feet store. Come in now for a free arch support fitting and test walk.
from the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios. KHTK AM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Touchdown! San Francisco!
Sactown Sports.
Live and local, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
He's FP Jr. I'm Jason Ross, back here on Sactown Sports, SactownSports.com, smart speaker and app, however you may find us. We appreciate that you are here with us on the day the 49ers have officially landed the big fish. Bosa is back, got the bag. 5 years, $170 million extension, 122 and a half of that guaranteed. How did they get to that number? Does Bosa's agent no less than 122 and a half million guaranteed?
I think they got to that number through a lot of algorithms and jersey sales and stuff like that.
Yeah. What's it going to take to have you here Sunday?
Yes,
right?
Please, please, please. And also, can I throw in this wrinkle too? This doesn't get talked enough about, but when you have a brother playing in the NFL, and Nick's got Joey Bosa that plays for the Chargers, everybody knows about him. Nick Bosa is making about $20 million more than his brother. You think he's going to let him know?
Oh, yeah.
The younger brother's getting paid more.
Yes. I would definitely let my brother know.
Is this like one of the only industries where, like, if you're like a younger version, you get paid more just because of just how much money leagues make, right?
Yeah.
And the cap goes up and all that.
It's all timing. Yeah. I mean,
it's timing.
Yeah.
It's so funny that Joey Bosa is making less than his little brother.
I know, I've worked with your dad years ago, but if he was around now at this time, like, he would be making more just because of time. When Doug Christie was here, it was like, man, my mom had me too soon. If I was around now, it's like, but yeah, they did well for themselves, but the scale just keeps moving.
I can't think of another industry like that. I'm sure there's something out there that's like,
but
if
not
you're
on a scale like this.
If you're an oil worker and you're young, you can get out there in the oil field longer. But like, I'm talking about sports and just like regular jobs.
Right.
Usually the more tenure you are, you get a bigger pay, you got to support a family.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, and like some of those things, I know we were earlier in the last show when we did a little crosstalk with Whitey and Watkins, they're talking about like this day in sports history, or sometimes you'll see on this day and pick the year, signed a $4 million contract, and you're like, which was massive at that time. And now it's like, that's like league minimums.
Yeah. Like Babe Ruth got like $100,000, like 10-year contract. It was like, whoa.
Yeah. Which was, I'm sure, ridiculous. Right. Times have changed.
Things are changing in here too. Oh my goodness. The lights are going off and on and off and on right now. We're in the dark.
Yes, we are. I'm trying to see how we look on our YouTube, but I think we're on. We're good.
Are we good?
The show goes on.
Okay. The lights went out in here again. So if you guys
mood lighting.
Yeah. If you're just following us, we've been having power outages all day.
Yeah. For some reason, but hopefully everybody's out there safe and secure. So if I could read my notes.
Yeah, I can't see a thing.
I can't either. Respect the enemy. And so we want to give the proper respect here, FP, to week one's opponent, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And hey, there we go. Different route. Wow, these are
too bright now. Can we go back?
I want to see how this looks like when it kicks in. So Pittsburgh, I mean, to me, I think of just a great organization, and the term culture in sports, I think, is thrown around too much, but I don't know of another organization that has just the culture that they do of consistent winning. They believe in, they have had, I still think the stat is 3 head coaches, which is incredible, from Chuck Noll to Bill Cowher to Mike Tomlin. They've all been successful. They don't screw around with that. And then this is what we do. We're Pittsburgh, and you try to figure out a way to beat us.
Yeah, it's consistency. It works. And again, it doesn't matter who's on the roster. They'll find a way to compete, whether it takes a long time, right? Or it takes towards the end of the season like last year, right?
Yeah.
This team and this organization should never be taken for granted.
Right.
And I know that the Niners have, I think you were telling me, 2.5 at the break.
Mm-hmm.
They're 2.5 point favorites over the Steelers. I think that's crazy. I think the Steelers maybe should be favorites in this. If you look at the rosters, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a lot of different factors. And it didn't really swing. I think it swung half a point after the Bosa signing was announced, which is kind of tells you how good this Steelers team is. But I kind of want to break down the preseason because everybody was talking about the Steelers and how fluid their offense looked and how good they looked on defense and everything was coming together.
When they played their number ones, they were awesome.
Yeah, and they really believe in playing their number ones, where other organizations don't. And I want to talk about that. So they were 3-0 this preseason, right? And I'm going to look at the first half stats because that's when a lot of the guys on the team or going to impact the team are playing. So they are averaging 13.3 points a game this preseason, 183 yards in the first half, 141 passing yards, 42 rush yards. So they weren't rushing the ball out. That makes sense, though, because they're not trying to get hurt.
Yeah.
Right? They're not rushing a bunch. And they're allowing 5 points a half. So, all right, cool. Those stats, I don't care at all about. I just want to read them to you because the national media has been blowing that out of proportion.
Yeah.
You have to calculate, okay, who is actually playing their starters at what time? Who took this off? Was this an actual, like, was it really in their playbook at this point? Were they just running some dummy plays? Like, what was going on in the whole situation? That's why the preseason shouldn't hold a lot of weight. I know they look good and fantastic, and you got to respect their opponent, right? Respect the enemy is the name of the segment. But I'm not really buying the preseason hype for the Steelers just yet. I'm still going to respect them. I think they have a culture in place that's incredible. Mike Tomlin is, I think anybody would take Mike Tomlin.
For sure.
I think maybe Bill Belichick is the only one that is just slightly above him.
Yeah, probably Andy Reid. But
Andy Reid
it's a short list, though.
It's a very short list. He is a dude, and he's got guys that are ready to compete.
Yeah, and I think, they've been known for their defense. Obviously, a few years ago when Ben Roethlisberger was still there, and at maybe the last 5 years of his career, they were just stats, passing. But they're built around their defense, and they rushed better than they passed last year. A lot of that was on Kenny Pickett, who was a rookie, and he shared time with Trubisky. Now it seems like it's Pickett's show. So it's a little bit like Brock Purdy in that sense. It's like, yeah, we're picking you. We are going for it. So for that team to elevate to something special in an AFC that's loaded with great quarterbacks, Pickett's going to have to make a big jump.
He's gonna, and who he's gonna go against is Nick Bosa.
Yeah.
Right?
Hello. Week
Hello.
one.
He's gonna go against Hargrave. He's gonna go against Bosa, Fred Warner. He's going against probably one of the best defenses in the NFL.
For sure.
So this is going to be a huge wake up call from going from preseason defenses, to probably one of the best defenses. And I was calling them last year, maybe historically all time good defense if they ended up winning the Super Bowl, which they didn't. That's always the caveat, right? When you're putting up historic numbers, you got to close the deal if you're going to be an all-time great anything.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah. It's like when the Warriors won 73, but they blew the 3-1 lead. It's like it still was an amazing team.
Yeah.
But that kind of becomes an asterisk. It's like, well, yeah, you won the most regular season games, didn't end with a title.
And I get individual performances.
Yeah.
So if you're like, oh, yeah, but what about Ohtani? I get that.
Yeah,
That's cool.
right.
It's different. But when you're talking about like a team aspect and a team stats, right? The Niners were breaking records. They were insane. They went on an historic stretch. They just couldn't get it done because they didn't have a quarterback. Too bad. History's going to forget you.
Yeah.
But this year, they have a chance to be even better, which is nuts to think about.
I'm looking. So the other challenge, I think, for the Niners this weekend will be going against, like we said, Pittsburgh's defense. Last year, when Pittsburgh got hot to finish, they won 6 of their last 7. But here's what they gave up: 17, 16, 16 in a loss, 16, 10, 13, 14. I mean, people weren't scoring on them. And that's Watt, and that's Hayward, and that's Minka Fitzpatrick. I mean, that's a really good defense they have there that I'm sure they're going to bring everything, all the tricks that they can to still relatively newbie in Brock Purdy.
Yeah, Brock Purdy's probably facing one of the better defenses he's faced since Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So this is another wake-up call, and you're going to be in hostile territory.
Yep.
So advantage defense right off the bat.
Yeah.
The only thing to offset Brock Purdy in that just gaudy defense that the Steelers have, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. I'm sure I'm forgetting like 15 other guys. Right? It's just ridiculously stacked. And that's what's so nice, right? Because when one game plan doesn't work, Shanahan can shift to another game plan and shift to another. I've always wondered, though, I wonder if like Shanahan ever, the way he game plans, if he just broke out all the tricks on week 1 or if he's saving it for like the Rams or the Seahawks or whatever, right? Like later in the season when he knows there's a critical matchup, I wonder if he's very conservative in his week 1 play calling.
That's an interesting question. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know the thought process of a play caller. Like, do we put everything out there? Do we hold back? I don't know that.
Well, he's gone on the record and said, well, I just prepared the best I can for the week, and we're going to call it the best plays we can to win.
Yeah, I believe that.
I believe that to a point, but I'm sure there's something that he's like, man, we could really bust this out.
Yeah.
Right. And I know this would work perfect against this defense that we maybe might not do against the Steelers.
There's got to be certain looks and tendencies because it seems like that I can recall there's been a couple games where like the Niners would do like 2 or 3 end arounds or reverses. You're like, okay, they worked, but what did you see from whatever? That was the Cardinals defense. That's why you did it or whatever. So there's got to be some looks that he's looking for. That's why he calls some of those. But week 1 is always the biggest trick to me because we have ideas. We're basically going off of last year with what teams add. But by the end of the year, you just never know. Like, was it 3 years ago? Pittsburgh started like 11-0. They were the last team to lose. And then they ended up not being that great of a team. But when you're 11-0, it catches everybody's attention.
It gets everyone's attention. The one wrinkle in this whole entire situation, and we've seen it the past 2 years, and we brought it up already during the show, Kyle Shanahan's teams usually have a slow start.
That's true.
And I think it's because of the complexity of the offense. It's no secret he has got one of the most just like very smoke and mirrors playbooks there is in the NFL, where you got a guy darting this way to divert this way and send a receiver that way. And you got to check down to 4 guys to see it. It's very complicated.
Yeah.
And sometimes guys aren't hitting their mark. So that's a huge concern I have. And this is why we're calling it respect the enemy.
Sure.
I think you have to respect this defense a lot. And then you also have to respect the complexity of the playbook.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully Kyle Shanahan's not pulling out those plays that like, let's see if you did your homework, right? And see if you're actually paying attention to the test.
Yeah.
Right. And pulls those plays out. Because we've seen slow starts, and every single time I just remember it was usually some miscommunication on defense, usually in the secondary, and then just overly complex plays where guys are just missing either the routes, they're running the wrong way, a ball's thrown right to a receiver right to a defensive back where a receiver should have been, things like that, right? Where that's got to be cleaned up immediately. And we've seen them clean that up fast.
Yep.
But it takes 3 or 4 games.
Yeah. And when they were going through the preseason, I know they landed on Brock Purdy pretty early in the process. But one of the things we always heard FP was that he just processes everything very quickly. I wonder if that also means the playbook. I mean, I'm thinking of like snap and then read. That's what he's processing. But if the playbook and his offense is that complicated, he's obviously got a pretty good grasp of that.
That's a great point, because Jimmy Garoppolo came in and he lit it up when he had his opportunities, because it was a very simple style playbook. And even Kyle Shanahan said, yeah, we're not going to do the crazy stuff. He's still learning here. He just came from the Patriots. I wonder if Brock Purdy was kind of in that situation. I know he's in that QB room, right, a lot. But maybe they're like, hey, we just got to let this kid go, because like we don't want to drop too much on him. He's like already going to be the starting quarterback of the Niners after being the last draft pick.
Yeah.
So I wonder if like they ramp it up a little bit, and we'll see how Brock Purdy reacts to that.
Yeah. We got more on this game. It's a great week 1 coming up. What is the best of week 1? Of course, it starts tomorrow with Thursday Night Football. You can hear that game right here on Sactown Sports. What other games to watch in this opening week of the NFL? We've got that next.
Will Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers brass go all the way this season? Could the Niners win their first Super Bowl since 1995? Join us throughout the season to hear all the games and all the analysis on Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave, and I recognize, just like my friends at American Energy Heat and Air, that your time is important. And that's why shopping for a new air conditioner is now easier with American Energy Heat and Air's online quoting tool. All you have to do is go to AmericanEnergyAir.com and get an instant quote right now. It'll help you determine what system you're going to need to get. It'll provide the best pricing options, all from the comfort of your home without having to have somebody come to your home. You know how annoying that is? They come in and, and everybody there is so sweet and nice, but how much better is it to be able to get it on demand? Visit AmericanEnergyAir.com. Check out how easy it can be. Or if you want to give them a call and talk through what your needs are, 916-520-9990. That's 916-520-9990 or AmericanEnergyAir.com.
Call 916-520-9990 now.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sactown Sports.
Hey, come on out to Marysville Stampede, September 16th and 17th at Cotton Rosser Arena. Get your tickets at maryvillestampede.com. Have you been to a Stampede before?
Okay.
Have you been to a Stampede before?
What's a Stampede?
Good question. I don't know. I just thought it's part of the rodeo, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I've been to a rodeo before.
You have?
Yeah.
So
it's not my first.
It's not your first. How about that? It's also National Read a Book Day. How are you there? You a book reader?
I mean,
that's a no.
Sometimes, yeah. During the pandemic, I did a book a month.
Good for you.
Which I was really proud of.
Kind of book, any style, any
It's actually very deep philosophical books. Yeah.
Wow. You're going, okay.
Yeah.
Deep theory on me. Okay.
Yeah. So I think the one book that was recommended to me that I really liked was Thus Spoke Zarathustra by Friedrich Nietzsche.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's his magnum opus.
Okay.
On just
sounds way too too highbrow.
Stoicism. It's good philosophy.
Okay.
So I was gonna act like the stupid sports fan, but I kind of like nerdy philosophical books.
I'm not even saying it's nerdy. It's good for you to read. I read a lot, but I don't read books. That's I mean, I'm always reading. Unfortunately, like I would say, the internet, Twitter, and then people are like, that's not reading. Well, I'm getting information.
Exactly. That's a great point you brought up because I had no information. There's not a lot of news in the cycle, and it was pretty much doomsday news, right? So I wanted to really invest myself in some books at the time. But I learned very quickly that I can only store so much information. So I would like go back like, did I read that book? Oh my God, I did. And I know that sounds crazy to some people driving around, but sometimes I have to remind myself I read books because I can only store so much information up here. And I think a lot of people are like that, but
I probably am. And then what I have in there is so useless, but it's there.
Yeah.
Like, 80 songs, song titles, lyrics, just like they're there. And commercial jingles. I got some weird stuff popping around in there.
As we all do.
Yeah.
But it's good to read books. And the first thing you got to tell kids is to pick up a book and read it because people that read books are just successful. Like they just write better. They critically think better.
A lot.
Yeah. It explains a lot. Same for me too. Cause I read a book a month and that's probably the most reading I'll ever do.
But that's good. That's a good commitment to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But others can just rifle them off. Or I got this book and they can't put it down and they're done in like 2 days. I'm like, wasn't that like 400 pages?
Yeah. How do people read so fast?
Yeah.
I was always the kid that was like, oh, you're reading only like 20 words a minute. I'm like, yeah, because I'm thinking about other things.
Right. I get distracted. Wait, you're right. What page am I on? Did I read that? Hey, did I eat lunch today? Like, wait, where am I?
Yeah.
Guess the story wasn't riveting. I always would, read and then run into the bookmark. Just that was my problem.
The only thing that fired me up though, and I want to ask you this question: is there a sports book of yours that's your favorite?
I would say no. I don't have a great answer to that, but there's been things that have been written. I go, oh, I think I would like to read that, and then I get back to not reading them. It's bad.
Yeah,
I'm really finding some serious faults here.
Yeah, I
do you have one?
I read The Life of Derek Jeter, his biography, and that was.
See, I would like that, but
Yeah, I read the book Unbroken, which is about a runner way back in the day, World War II.
Oh, wow. Oh, yes. I
Louis
heard that
Zamperini.
Yes, but he had it's a runner, but his life was crazy
life where he like survived out in the ocean.
Sea,
because his ship sunk in World War II and he got captured by the Japanese and all this crazy stuff.
That all happened to one person. It's incredible.
Yeah, so that there's little sports books like that I really enjoy. So, but cool. The Mental Game of Baseball, really great book.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. All right. Fantastic. So
we got week 1 coming up, FP, starting tomorrow right here on Sactown Sports. Some football news besides the Bosa signing today, staying with the Niners at a big pay raise for him. Sean McVay has ruled out Cooper Kupp for Sunday's game. It's the Rams and Seahawks. So, I mean, Kupp is a guy that gets 100-plus catches a year, big part of that Super Bowl winning team, and they're not sure what's going on with his hamstring.
No, that's going to be a thing all season, too. And you knew he was probably floating around the first round of your fantasy draft.
Yes.
If you listen in your car and you're like, do I want to?
Yeah.
And then somebody probably said, you know what?
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
I'll do it.
And then they're probably driving around right now and they heard that news and they're like, oh,
sorry.
Yikes.
Yeah. Hopefully it's just 1 week for him and for the Rams. Not sure there. So if we take away the 49ers and Steelers game, which obviously we have a lot of interest in, what catches your eye? What's the best of week 1 in your mind?
Ooh, the best of week 1.
A couple of games.
Honestly, and this is going to surprise some people, I'm really stoked on Green Bay, Chicago.
Just the history there or what?
The history there. I think it's a great opening week game. You have 2 young quarterbacks going against each other.
A lot of hype on Fields.
A lot of hype on Fields, even though he has worse numbers than Trey Lance. Stay woke. I'm trying to tell you guys. Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love. Jordan Love looked really good in preseason. But again, it's preseason.
Yeah.
So you have like this weird transition period for Green Bay. You have an historic rivalry, right? Where Green Bay has historically owned Chicago because of this guy named Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be super dialed into that game. The other game has to do with Aaron Rodgers. Buffalo at New York Jets.
Monday night. So much hype on the Jets.
Monday night football. Josh Allen versus Aaron Rodgers. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. That's awesome.
The Jets have a long playoff drought. I think they're the longest. I think it's Denver, believe it or not, after them. But there's a lot of hype on the Jets. And part of that's the Hard Knocks thing, too. And Rodgers and New York. But they might be good.
Are they overrated?
Well, yes, I will say it to this point. Like I saw, I don't know, there was a panel, a website that gathered a bunch of people, and it said how many people were picking the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. You had Chiefs. I saw some Cowboys, some Niners, some Eagles, and then there was a small portion like Jets, like to win the Super Bowl. That to me would floor me.
That is the East Coast bias right there. That's a lot of excited New York journalists.
Too excited.
That, have a lot of influence in media.
Sure.
They've worked really hard to get there. It's a tough market to make. And they really believe in the Jets.
Yeah.
I want to see it. The Bills are a really good team.
Yes.
It's week 1, though. So I don't know how much weight I'm going to put into this, even if the Jets do win.
Yeah.
It'll be a cool moment. I'll tweet about it. Stuff like that. But
well, if you tweet about it, then it's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Right. This is so funny. Just being a millennial, like, I'll tweet about it. Yeah.
Well, and I'll read it. I mean, that's what happens. I'll go, that's a ridiculous tweet. But that's a good point. It's like, that's what we do. We look at all these comments, but that's what happened too. No matter what happens in week 1, I can promise without any hesitation, when any show on here is back on Monday, there'll be drastic overreactions.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just pencil in some bizarre out. Steelers win 30-0 over the Niners. Oh my gosh. Not ready to play. Bosa shouldn't have signed, Purdy's not that's the way it will go on Monday.
Oh, it's going to be
if that happens.
Glorious.
Yeah.
The overreactions, the underreactions.
Yeah.
Another one I'm checking out, and I'm sure you're going to check this one out too. The Raiders at Broncos.
Yeah.
You have the rivalry there. You have Jimmy Garoppolo, his first start with the Raiders. And then you have Sean Payton with Russell Wilson, who's doing it Sean Payton's way now. So it's either his way or the highway. So I'm really excited to see just who's going to step up there. And especially with all the weirdness in the Raiders organization.
Yes.
Like how is everything going to play out there? So if you're not getting on, figuring this out yet, I'm a storylines guy.
Yes, I'm with you on that.
Feed me the storylines.
Well, that game specifically, you've got more fresh weirdness with the Raiders, and I know we're going to get to that in our next segment. But if you even go back, I don't know, a month or 2 ago, the weirdness of the Broncos. I mean, Sean Payton, to call out the previous head coach, like they were a mess, worst coaching I've ever seen on Nathaniel Hackett. Like that's kind of coaching taboo. But he's like, I'm going to step in front of it because I'm signed here. I'm like, I believe in myself. He put a lot of pressure on himself here, so I'm a believer in Sean Payton, but I think he's he talked the talk. Now he's got to walk the walk.
Imagine if the Raiders come out and give it to the Broncos
in Denver
at home for his first
and
game.
if Wilson's not good,
jeez, you're going to hear about that.
Talk about reactions
all day Monday.
Yeah,
all day Monday. So I'm circling that game. And if you're just into good plays, there's really not a lot of storylines here. Miami at Chargers. Those are just two good rosters.
Intriguing.
That's just going to be a fun game to check out because each team has so many guys. And when I mean guys, I mean really, really, really good players, noticeable names that you're just going to pop in and check that one.
Yeah. I think you mentioned the Packers, Bears. I like division matchups. You got Bengals, Browns. I think those two teams have potential to be playoff. And then Cowboys, Giants. I know it's Sunday night. There's a lot of history there. I think the Giants overachieved a year ago, and then the Cowboys, just because they're Dallas, they get attention.
I get so much fatigue about the Giants and the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Just growing up, they were always on Sunday Night Football, always on Thursday Night Football, always on Monday. They always had primetime games, and even at times when they didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
They didn't have good rosters, and they had losing records.
Yeah.
I was always so confused as a kid growing up. What? Why are these teams on my TV? This is brutal.
Right.
And I didn't think the NFL solved that. They're getting better.
Yeah.
At making these matchups.
Well, there are some good games to go week 1 again tomorrow night right here, Sactown Sports, Lions and Chiefs. But FP mentioned the Raiders and Broncos. That's a good game. And on the week of the first game, you want good news coming out of your camp. Not so much today with the Raiders and Chandler Jones. Terrible way to start the season. He's not at practice with the ruling a private matter. We got to discuss what's going on with the silver and black when we come back here on Sactown Sports.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings, Niners, and the NFL? Well, Sactown Sports has you covered.
Touchdown! San Francisco! It's all on his shoulders. Cox rocks. He fires for the win. He's got the triple.
Catch all your Kings, Niners, and NFL games all year long on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Cookie wants to be a professional wrestler.
I'm Cookie Serratos, and I'm 11 years old.
She also wants to win all the medals. That's why Cookie and her family make every day count, squeezing out her best with Go-Go Squeeze.
Okay, Cookie, let's break for a Go-Go Squeeze.
Go-Go Squeeze fruit-on-the-go pouches are a nutritious snack made from 100% fruit with no sugar added.
Call Cookie!
Because when you nurture your kids, you squeeze out the best in them. Squeeze out the best with Go-Go Squeeze. Not a low-calorie food. Products range from 11 to 13 grams of sugar and 60 to 70 calories per serving.
I'm Ty Burrell, actor and small business owner. I'm going to show you my steps for making the perfect radio ad. This one's about innovation refunds and the ERC. First step, be relatable. I like pizza and puppies. 2, cold hard info. The ERC is a tax credit for eligible businesses that kept employees on payroll in 2020 and 2021. So if you qualify, Innovation Refunds Network of Independent Tax Attorneys could help you claim it. 3, go to innovationrefunds.com or call 1-843-REFUNDS.
Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. We work with an independent network of tax professionals. Terms and conditions apply. Ty is a paid spokesman.
Hagen Oaks wants you to know about the exciting new T-Series irons from Titleist, offering effortless speed, exceptional feel, and precise control. Working with tour pros and dedicated amateurs, Titleist T-Series are available in 4 different models. The fitting team at Hagen Oaks will find the perfect Titleist T-Series iron for you. Call 916-808-2531 to find your fit today. Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway, or online at hagenoaks.com.
Get ready for a night with Cole Swindell. The 2023 ACM Song of the Year winner hits Heart Health Park at Cal Expo in Sacramento, Saturday, September 9th for the CITP2 Fest. And Cole's bringing some friends like Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, Matt Stell, and more. Tickets start at $40 at CITPFest.com.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters, right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with 0 down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com.
0 down with approved credit.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you find the right customers. Spread awareness of your product or services. We can help build trust in your brand and services with a digital marketing campaign. Increase leads and get more customers. We create tailored digital marketing campaigns that deliver results. Don't wait. Get started today. Contact aimyourdigital.com. That's aimyourdigital.com and start seeing results.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sactown Sports.
So the NFL gets started tomorrow, week 1. 49ers will be in Pittsburgh on Sunday. That game can be heard right here on Sactown Sports. Again, tomorrow night's game, Thursday Night Football, the Chiefs and the Detroit Lions can also be heard right here. The Raiders. I know there are still Raider fans in town. That's the one thing FP about the NFL. I mean, obviously, if we did an informal poll, there's going to be more Niners in Northern California, Niner fans. We get that, but I know there's some leftover Raider fans. But the beauty of the NFL is, like, you will find Cowboys, Eagles, Panthers, Falcon. Like, there's a fan of everybody in this town, which is great.
That's what's beautiful just about the NFL. But yeah. I've seen a movement in the East Bay. It's called the Los Oakland Raiders.
Yeah.
Where it's almost like a seamless transition. Like, they're still sticking with their team. And I think it has to do because the Raiders have moved around a bunch. Mm-hmm. So it's a little different than the Oakland situation. And then I think the way the regime moved was pretty swift. Like, there was not a lot of lingering stuff going around. So you heard talks about the Oakland Coliseum not being fit for the Raiders, and they're going to make a move. And then it happened. That was it. It was pretty swift, pretty calculated. They got the job done. I know it made some Raiders fans pretty upset, But they're still Raiders fans.
Yeah. And I mean, I think it's like anything. You'll run into some like, I'm done with them because they're leaving. And others like, yeah, I'm going to follow them. I want to go to Vegas. I'll go once a year or just still follow them.
I'm very curious. And maybe somebody could call in or text us or maybe on the YouTube chat. Were you an Oakland Raiders fan and then you transitioned to a Niners fan? I don't think there is. I think they stayed with the Raiders.
Yeah, I would think you would. I mean, again, you mentioned they were such a nomadic team. I mean, Oakland, LA, back to Oakland, now to Vegas. I mean, it could frustrate you. I get it. I'm not saying you fan how you fan, but I don't know if it's in your roots. I think you stick with that team.
Yeah, I think you do. But maybe with what's going on recently, you start to question some things as a fan.
And for the Raiders themselves, not a bunch of expectations this year. I think, think about this organization going to Vegas. I mean, they got a great stadium, all this stuff. It's a stadium that's, for Mark Davis, he gets frustrated because every Sunday there's more fans of the other team, but I think that was kind of predictable. I think you need years and years of being in Vegas where the people that grow up there are now like, oh, I've been a Raider fan for 10 years. It's like, well, they haven't even been there long enough, but then that group ages in. I went every Sunday, but it's going to take time for them to get that fan base.
It's going to take time, and then the biggest cure all of everything.
Yep.
Winning. You got to win.
They haven't done it enough.
You just got to win.
Yeah. And they went for a change. Derek Carr was their QB. I get it. They want to try something different. I don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo was plan one. They talked about, Aaron Rodgers, even Tom Brady, but they get to Jimmy G. This would be year 6 or 7 maybe of John Gruden if he had stuck with that 10-year thing, but we all know he's gone. So I think there's a lot on Josh McDaniels to impress. Now, we know what he did as a coordinator with New England, but so far in year 1, not so great. Year 2, he's got to do some winning here soon.
Got to win. I think Raiders Nation is getting really, really fed up of just the organization in general. And you're starting to see the cracks.
Yes.
Okay. You're starting to see the cracks. And we'll get into the Chandler Jones situation in a second. But throughout the entire organization, with like not hearing people are being paid, off the field incidents with a lot of players, the cracks are starting to show. And there should be a lot of concern if you're a Raiders fan.
Yeah. And so one of the cracks you mentioned, you brought up Chandler Jones. So yesterday goes to, like any athlete or anybody now, go to social media to vent your issues. He was on Instagram, I think, saying basically, look, I was trying to get in the facility, trying to work out, couldn't get in, goes on a tirade. Then I'll try to keep this clean as possible, but bleep it. I don't want to play for the Raiders if that's my HC, meaning head coach, or GM. I want Patrick Graham, Ivy League, who's on the staff, who's from Ivy League school. But that's one of your key defensive players that you brought in a year ago. And today, when asked about it, Coach McDaniels basically shut it down and said, let's talk about the game, but that's a private matter. It's very public now. It's no longer a private matter. You can try to keep it private, but that's a star that you brought in that is not happy with the head coach going into week 1.
Yeah, and he's also had an issue, I think, getting into the facilities, because he also posted this. He said, it's a shame that I'm a top athlete with 112 sacks in the NFL, and I have to go to a local gym to work out during the season for no apparent reason. This is wild to me.
Yeah.
Josh, and you know it, you need to do what's right. Yikes. You're a professional athlete and you don't have access to what you need to perform. That's like us not having microphones.
Right.
We're just talking to the wall, which we do.
Yeah, exactly. We do anyway. But I feel like this is fixable, or could have been fixable. And the fact that it got to this point to where your guy goes out in public and then, via social media, then the coach has to answer the questions, which he's clearly uncomfortable with. Again, it can all be swept under the rug, but I feel like, again, there's more friction here that makes you wonder how much of it is team-wide.
It seems like it starts at the top, though, with ownership,
right?
Mark Davis. And I'm going to throw this out there. Are the Las Vegas Raiders slowly, not there yet, slowly becoming the new Washington Commanders?
Oh, man.
I don't mean to put it out there, but it's starting to awfully feel like it. I remember when the weird stuff started to happen with the R words. I won't say it.
Yeah.
With the Washington R words, and they were just having weird stuff pop up. It was with Trent Williams, right? He had cancer or something, and they didn't check him properly. And then guys were getting hurt off the field and complaining about facilities. It starts to snowball like this, and you start to see the cracks, and it always starts at the top. And I'm wondering if you're a Raiders fan right now, are you completely aware of this? Do you see this road kind of happening, or you're like, that's a little bit of an overreaction? I can see it happening. I don't know if the Raiders are there yet, but when you have Chandler Jones coming out a week before week 1 and saying all this stuff and just making a mess for the organization, that just tells me you don't really have a grip on the players, you're not meeting their needs.
Right.
All these different things that this is where it could get weird really quick. And then there's a lot of the talk about Mark Davis not having enough money to pay people.
Yeah.
And that's why he wants to stick with his coaching staff, because he doesn't want to hire somebody else and pay them more.
It's a situation too, and I don't know internally what the locker room is like, but you know that, FP, how important it is to have the team together. So if this is one of your teammates, one of your leaders, I think McDaniels even said this week, well, I'll just put it this way, he's not a captain. Like, okay. Is that going over the room well? Is Chandler Jones going rogue and no one else is along with him? Or is it like, yeah, speak up for us because this is I don't know what it's like internally, but it's certainly not the look you want going into week 1.
No, this is the last thing you want. Like, we're all worried as 49ers fans, right?
Yeah.
About Nick Bosa being signed. These guys are worried about everything right now. They're worried about QB, defense. They're worried about guys not showing up anymore because they're not reporting to practice. I think Chandler Jones didn't show up to practice today.
Yeah.
So he might be just out this weekend against the Broncos.
Right.
In
guy
Denver.
you need. Right. A guy you need to, they've worked on this defensive line. They wanted to revamp defense. They feel like, I mean, if you look at like the NFL top 100, they had Josh Jacobs in the top 20, Devontae Adams in the top 20, Max Crosby in the top 20. I mean, they have some high level talent at certain positions, but the defense needs to get drastically better to compete against Mahomes and the Chiefs and the Chargers and Herbert. It's a tough division. They got to be on the rise as opposed to having this starting before the year even begins.
Yeah, this is like starting off the worst possible note possible. I want to throw this out to you, Jason.
Yeah.
I just recently, with all the things that have been happening within organizations in baseball, within the NBA, within the NFL, are these cracks more noticeable because of social media, or is it just because of how large sports has become in the United States?
Well, it's probably a combination of both, but I think the fact that much like in society where everybody can have a voice and then they'll share it and express. So like, at your own job, if people are, voicing their displeasure via social media or an internal emails or something like that, now everybody kind of knows how you feel. Here, I mean, if any athlete's expressing that, we're all going to run with it.
Yeah, I think that's
freedom to speak, right?
Yeah, freedom of speech. Horrible idea.
Yeah.
Whoever wrote that in the Constitution. No, I love.
But just
freedom of speech.
more comfort in like, I'm going to stand up for what I believe. Now, maybe right, maybe wrong, but I think a lot more people are. I don't even know if I just feel like.
Well, do you remember this back in the day? Because maybe I was just too young and I just didn't understand what was going on business wise and all that. But I feel like everything is underneath a microscope now in sports.
I'd agree with that.
And just like the littlest thing goes wrong and it's just the biggest of deals. This one's a pretty big deal though.
Yeah.
All things considered with
It
Chandler
is.
Jones. But I've just, the top and the bottom of every single league is so drastically different. I can't remember, like in all leagues, it's like that. Maybe the NBA has the most parity right now. We know that. The top is closest to the bottom, but even like the most dysfunctional franchises are still dysfunctional.
Yeah.
I just don't remember it being like this. I thought all sports teams like, wow, that's the Houston Rockets. Like that, they're still the Houston Rockets. That's great, right? That's the Portland Trailblazers. That's incredible. Like that's the NBA, man. Like, wow, that's the Oakland Raiders. Wow, that's the Oakland A's. Wow, this is the Washington, like whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
Like that's still the highest level.
But dysfunction can happen anywhere.
Yeah, now I'm seeing, I'm like, ew.
Yeah.
Like this, what? I wouldn't want to work there.
Right.
I wouldn't want to work there as anybody.
And you can even find teams that have good clubhouses, good locker rooms, whatever it might be, and maybe not be successful just based on talent, but it's still put together in a good way.
It's still a professional organization.
Yeah.
It's still a great place to work.
Yeah.
You're seeing these other places pop up, and it's just such a stark difference between, I don't know, maybe, I'm sorry to say this in Northern California, but the Dodgers organization, where they're known to just take care of everybody, do things very professionally, internally, all that. And then something like the White Sox organization, where they're like putting people on blast on their scoreboard.
Yeah.
And like not including players' names that they traded away because that player, and if you don't know that story, it was a pitcher got traded to the Yankees and he went out and said, it's like the culture's just not there in Chicago.
Which he wasn't wrong.
Yeah, which he wasn't wrong. And then they showed on the scoreboard, like no name was pitching.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't put his stats or anything.
Just being petty.
Being petty. So that kind of tells you like where we're at in sports. And
Yeah.
I just don't remember this.
Yeah.
I just don't remember this growing up. The stark contrast between the A1s and, the last place.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if the Raiders can sort this out, but it's not really starting out on a good foot there about Chandler Jones, Josh McDaniels as they get ready for Denver in week 1. When we come back, something is happening tonight that's hard to believe for the first time ever in Major League Baseball, and also what the Angels did yesterday with Shohei Ohtani. That's something we got to explain. That's coming your way next.
The first ever NBA in-season tournament schedule is out, and our Kings have some great matchups, including national TV games against the Spurs and Warriors.
And Sacramento has won. They have risen to the occasion. And let me tell you, if you can't sense it, this place is absolutely nuts.
Listen to every game on the home of the Kings, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Bonnie.
I'm Mark Finan in the KCRA3 Weather Center. Skies will stay clear tonight. We'll have a breeze that'll cool us to about 60 by morning. Tomorrow will be sunny and warm with a high of 92. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
Imagine taking a nice warm bath in your shower. Let us fix that. Right now, get that clogged drain unclogged for just $97. Bonnie, plumbing, sewer, electrical, heating, and air. Bonnie.com. Some restrictions apply. License 696-355.
I like daffodils, tulips, the big dinner plate dahlias. I loved being in the garden, but I wasn't going to be able to because I couldn't not only walk, but I couldn't really stand on my foot without being in pain. It was excruciating. So my husband said, let's go to the Good Feet store.
For over 20 years, we've helped people like Terry live the life they love without letting their feet get in the way.
This nice young man said, I think I can help you. He got the arch support and I was fitted. And I kept walking back and forth across the store. And I looked at my husband and burst into tears because it was the first time in a year that I have not had any pain in my foot. I have had no pain since the day I bought them. Now I can do whatever I want. There isn't any place on my property that doesn't have flowers blooming 365 days a year. I still can't believe it. My name is Terry, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
The Good Feet store. Come in now for a free arch support fitting and test walk.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
AutoZone is more than a parts store. It's where we help you solve problems like, sorry I'm late, my battery died. And
I need a jump again.
At America's #1 battery destination, you can find the right battery at the right price with options starting at only $89.99. And we offer free battery testing and charging whenever you need it. Get the parts and help you need to get the job done right at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find. Happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Labor Day, our annual celebration of workers and their achievements, was first observed in New York, and the first Monday in September became a national holiday in 1894. Hi, this is Frank LaRosa with a word about Naturewood Home Furnishings. Each year we commemorate Labor Day with parades, picnics, and family gatherings. And right now, Naturewood Home Furnishings is celebrating with their exceptional whole store Labor Day sale. Would you like to refresh your living room? Would you like to restyle your bedroom? Maybe you want to redesign your home office. No matter whether it's your dining room, kids' rooms, accents, or accessories, Naturewood's unique store-wide Labor Day sale offers savings in every department and savings on every brand like Stanton, Omnia, England, Stickley, Flex Steel, and all the rest of the award-winning furniture. When it comes right down to it, it's all about choices and always about quality. Visit Naturewood Home Furnishings right now for this remarkable Labor Day sale. Off Highway 50 at Hazel, look for the water wheel.
At Fisher Investments, our clients know we have their backs.
How do your clients know that?
Because Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So wait, you do it because you have to?
No, we do it because it's the right thing to do. Our clients trust us with their retirement savings, and we know how important that responsibility is. So we take the time to really get to know them.
Get to know them how?
We make sure we understand their unique goals, finances, health, family, and lifestyle so we can tailor their portfolio to their specific needs. Our goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Sounds like a big responsibility. You must make big commissions then, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We have one single transparent fee that's structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments, Clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave for my good friends at Fire Wings with some bullet points for you to remember so you can be a professional fire wing eater. Like Wings Day Wednesday, 88-cent wings each and every Wednesday. 3 flavor lineup includes 7 classic wing flavors, 7 dry rub wing flavors, 7 fusion wing flavors. It's the perfect fast casual eating establishment for the entire family. Go to firewings.com or download the app, find a location near you, order online, earn rewards. Fire Wings, just wing it.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sactown Sports.
Another reminder this weekend, college football in town. The 2023 home opener for the Sacramento State Hornets. Kickoff at 7 p.m. at Hornet Stadium. You can get your tickets right now at hornetsports.com. Stingers up. Speaking of football, it's kind of tied into baseball here, FP. A couple things. We were just talking about the Raiders a moment ago. Saw a tweet from Chandler Jones, said, quote, "God is good. He is always good." He did that like 30 minutes ago. And then had a little prayer hands. And I mean, not going the biblical route at all or anything, but like the religious route. But interesting if there's any meaning behind that.
Never a good sign when you're in a controversy and you're tweeting something like that out. You could just, I get it.
Yeah.
Like you're just being grateful and thankful. And it's good to practice that. But it's never a good sign if you're a fan of that team and people are tweeting that out, because you might have to go check to see if they did something.
Right. So we know what the controversy was earlier today. As far as the A's, they won earlier today. We mentioned the Giants' struggles. They lost too. But something that's getting a little buzz here lately is the A's with the win. Okay, they're not going anywhere, mathematically eliminated. But Mark Kotsay, the manager of the A's, in the post game, and managers, they know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
He donned a San Francisco 49ers hat, and it stuck out red against that green, and yet, like, that's not a normal look.
Yeah, I saw the tweet, and I immediately went, "Oh my goodness, aren't they supposed to move to Las Vegas?" And then I thought that was really cool he did that, but also the A's and Raiders,
they've always been tied together.
Yeah, they were like brothers, like stepbrothers, really, that lived in the same house.
Right.
And you're wearing Niners gear? Like that's got to rub some A's and Oakland Raiders fans wrong.
Yeah.
Or Las Vegas Raiders fans.
It is weird. There are in general, it's not foolproof, but it felt like here in Northern California, more people that are Niner fans are Giants fans than more people that were A's fans or Raiders fans. Not foolproof, but I think the percentages would lean that way. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it made the most sense always.
There was some crossover that always happened. But
and when there was crossover there, you would always ask, what?
Yeah, what happened?
What happened?
Yeah, why do you like the Giants and the Raiders?
Well, my dad, was a huge Giants fan.
Yeah.
My mom loved the Raiders. It was usually something like that.
Yeah.
Like my mom's from Oakland, or,
Or it was a contrast where, like, my dad liked the Raiders, so I like the Niners. Like, oh, you don't like your dad? I'm like, no, I just had to pick a different team. Like, okay, got it. But to me, you either latched on to your parents' team or you fought against them for some reason.
That's kind of a funny situation. But a Niners hat in an A's post-game press conference.
Again, carefully, he could have worn an A's hat. He didn't have to change hats. He put on, by choice, Mark Kotsay put on a Niners hat.
I think
you fired about the Bosa signing?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say he's a Niners fan, which is great.
That's fine.
But kind of know your audience too.
Yeah.
So he's going to get some things his way for sure.
Or is that the right audience? Now is Northern California's technically only football team.
Yeah, but also Oakland's supposed to move to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah.
I think it will be blown out of proportion. We're kind of contributing to that.
Yes, exactly. Tonight in the majors, just a few games we want to get you caught up on. We'll get back to the 49ers here in a moment. First time ever, and I found this hard to believe, Verlander versus Scherzer.
Oh, I knew they were pitching tonight. I didn't know it was the first time
ever. That? I thought it was. I read that. And I'm like, wait, how can that be? And I know they're on new teams, but they've been on the same team. They've been in different leagues. They've been in the same league.
Yeah,
I feel like that had to have happened.
Yeah, I think the only time they could have faced each other was in the 2019 World Series, and they didn't. So it probably their starts didn't line up because it was the Astros and Nationals.
Well, at least first time I know this for sure on their respective new teams. And this division, by the way, is great with Texas, Seattle, and Houston. This race to the end of the AL West, as far as the division winner, is the best one in baseball.
Yeah, it is the most exciting. The Rangers made a whole bunch of moves in the offseason. They were rolling, and now they're having just crazy, crazy bad baseball. Like luck playing it, everything that can go wrong has gone wrong for the Rangers, and they're free falling a bit. Their saving grace is they're still in the wild card, and they're tied with the Toronto Blue Jays. But the Mariners are in second, and the Astros are in first. All of a sudden, how do the Astros do this? They always start off with like a bad start or something weird happens, and then all of a sudden you check the standings and they're in first place.
Yeah,
it's like what? Come on. The Mariners are the most exciting team I think in the bunch, though, just because they got a lot of cool history of them not making it. And they got a lot of young players that are exciting. Also a possible destination for Ohtani.
I know. They did when they did the All-Star game for him. I mean, it was one day, but I'm like, that was really cool. They really made him, to me, feel good.
Yeah, the chant, and he even acknowledged it.
He
too.
did.
It was pretty cool.
Good for Seattle.
But I don't think he's going to go there just because of the Ichiro legacy. Like it'd be kind of weird to step on the greatest Japanese baseball player of all time currently, right? In Ichiro.
Yeah.
Full career-wise. Ohtani's probably going to be more famous at the end of the day, more accolades, all that.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think you want to make that like your place. That's already Ichiro's place.
Yeah. Here's the official stat. If they're for Scherzer, Verlander, first time ever, their 467 combined career wins are the most entering a starting pitch-up matchup since September 19th, 2008, when it was Greg Maddux versus Barry Zito. But for the first time this far into their career, they're meeting each other.
Well, that's fun and exciting. That's something to turn on and watch.
Yeah.
Just pop off that
and
game.
Plus, it's Astros Rangers, good matchup when they were together. They're the future of the Mets. Well, the present of the Mets, and then both have been moved. Just that was an epic failure this year for the Mets.
Yeah, I was really excited because I thought baseball finally had a cowboy in Cohen that was just buying everybody, and it's like, I'm just gonna buy that guy. I'm gonna get this guy. I got art installations more than these contracts. I'll just sell some of my art.
Yeah,
and I'll pick up Max Scherzer. Didn't work out, which is unfortunate because that means the Moneyball ways are gonna stay.
Yeah. And we're seeing some different teams in the lead, which is good. Yeah, you had the Padres spend a bunch of money, not working out for them. The Mets spend a bunch of money, not working out for them. You mentioned Ohtani earlier. So yesterday was Team Picture Day. It always happens at some point in the year for teams. And Shohei's a little injured, like maybe a little bit more than injured right now. And so what's the story behind that? He wasn't there for Picture Day?
Yeah,
or kind of.
So he wasn't there for Picture Day yesterday. If you don't know, usually Major League Baseball teams or NBA teams or even NFL teams will have a day designated where it's pretty much the finalized roster. It's towards the end of the season. They take a picture and they'll put it up somewhere in the facility or on Google or something, just so that way, historically,
this was the squad.
This was the team that made it through most of the year. Well, Ohtani wasn't there. He's dealing with an oblique injury on top of a partially torn UCL, so nobody knows where he was. It hasn't been reported yet. But he showed up, or didn't, rather. It was a body double. They used a body double for Ohtani in the team picture, and it was just a really tall Caucasian male, I'll put it that way.
So they got to change that. They're going to, Photoshop?
So they're going to Photoshop his face onto the body of somebody that has a similar physique. But
who does? Ohtani's put together.
He is massive.
Yeah.
Like massive. And even in person, it's shocking.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like Giannis.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Like Wembanyama.
Right.
Shocking. Just the body and the build.
Especially for baseball.
Yeah. So hopefully they try to hide him in the back and Photoshop his face. But just continuing with the weirdness of the Angel season. I mean, Rendon coming out. By the way, I just want to say about Anthony Rendon, one of the nicest people I've ever met and had a conversation with. Really good dude, down to earth. Anybody would like him and have a beer with him. Getting crushed in the media just for his lack of cooperation. Not playing, just had really bad injuries. I'm rooting for him personally, but I understand why you're not.
Yeah.
If you're an Angels fan or a baseball fan,
Yeah.
he's being difficult with the media.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's some internal frustration too. Like he wants to play, he wants to be healthy. He doesn't want to be mocked or made fun of, or you got paid too much, you're a waste, you're the worst contract ever. I mean, he's hearing that stuff.
Yeah, it might be one of the worst contracts, and that says a lot. Strasburg, I think, is A1, and then Rendon might be number 2, and it's just an unfortunate situation there. But it just, if you put together everything that's happened in the Angel season, you can do a documentary.
Oh, yeah.
Of just how to not run a franchise, all the weirdness, everything. You have the 2 best players in the world that put on a show for the World Baseball Classic.
Yep.
They come into spring training. Everything looks gravy. Ohtani's just on a tear right out of the gate. He's still probably going to win the AL MVP. and everything just goes worst possible case scenario.
Yeah.
Throughout the organization. Like this will be studied for years to come. And that's why we're talking about the Angels in Sacramento.
Yeah. Well, you're right, because look, they've lost 5 in a row. They're 64-75. So they're going to likely have another losing season. And no other team in baseball, none since 2016. They're the only one that has had a losing season every year.
Does it feel a little like cathartic to kind of talk about another organization just being here in Sacramento?
Yes.
Like, those guys.
Look at the Angels. But I mean, again, that would be hard to explain 15, 20 years from even now. But you go, wait, didn't they have Trout? Didn't they have Ohtani and really Pujols at that time? Yeah, they did.
They were loaded.
They were.
And you can even throw in Rendon because
Sure.
he had a pretty good
career.
career.
He came from. Yeah. So you would say certainly 3 Hall of Famers. Rendon, probably was tracking it as he was going, and the injuries will limit that. But 3 of baseball's great players of all time. And not a winning season with that group.
Oh, that is so tough.
Crazy. And every other team, I mean, Pittsburgh, Tampa's been good for a while, but just everybody else has slid in there, at least had a winning record in the last 7 years.
If anything happens to one of your teams, just remember, you could be an Angels fan.
You're out there somewhere, Angel fans. You had 2002, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking about you guys. Seriously, this is crazy. You guys don't deserve this.
It'll be even more painful when they most likely lose Ohtani.
I think they're there. They know
that.
They understand.
Man. All right. We got more to get to, including a little over an hour from now. We're going to check in from Pittsburgh. Boots on the ground there with Jerry Dulac. We'll see what's going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Covers the Steelers for their radio network and the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. When we come back, though, the Niners in 2023. A little prediction time. They got great skill players. What kind of numbers can we expect for those guys coming up in the year ahead? We'll do that next.
Check out the Golf to Go Hour with Frank LaRosa every week on Sactown Sports. Get the latest on equipment, area courses, people who play the great game, and plenty of good conversations about golf. It's the Golf to Go Hour every week with Frank LaRosa on Sactown Sports. Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, America's most awarded golf facility. Nature Wood Home Furnishings, where it's all about choices and always about quality.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
Hey, it's Carmichael Dave here for American Energy Heating and Air. It's the end of summer blowout on all their systems. Right now, $2,500 off full systems, as low as $34 a week. And now American Energy Heating and Air offering a free Wi-Fi smart thermostat of your choice on high efficiency units. Look, the uncomfortable becomes comfortable with American Energy Heating and Air. They've been around since 1981, making the greater Sacramento area proud with an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. And as always, their goal is to exceed your expectations, exceed them of the heating and air industry, valuing the customer experience and making your home comfortable. It's that simple. Go to American Energy Heating and Air and get yourself a free Wi-Fi smart thermostat of your choice on high efficiency units.
Call 916-520-9998 now.
Get to Acura of Stockton, where precision-crafted performance is at your fingertips. Elevate your driving experience with a vehicle that's built to impress. Acura of Stockton has a great selection of new Acuras and customer service that will exceed your expectations. And right now, lease a new Acura TLX, MDX, or Integra with low lease rates available. Take luxury to a whole new level in a new Acura from Acura of Stockton. See all our inventory and specials at AcuraofStockton.com.
Y'all ready to do it again, Sacramento? Country in the Park 2 is coming to Heart Health Park at Cal Expo Saturday, September 9th with Cole Swindell, Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, and more. Plus, a mechanical pool, line dancing saloon, and all the food. Tickets start at $40 or grab your Coors Light Y'all Access passes for $125. For more info, visit SactownSports.com. Country in the Park 2, brought to you by Carl's Jr., Nature Wood Home Furnishings, Building Kits Schools, and New Dawn Treatment Centers.
Okay, next time you're at the store,
I dare you to not think about the unmistakable fresh, clean scent of Irish Spring. Yeah, you heard me. I want you to resist picturing a shower filled with those sensational Irish Spring suds. And if you succeed, well, you got what my gramps used to call resolutitude. Not a real word, but let's be honest, you're probably going to end up leaving with Irish Spring because of its irresistible scent and because you have zero resolutitude. Pick up Irish Spring today.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up AutoSave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools, one bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
AutoSave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento. From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, your home for the Oakland A's every weekend.
And it's swung on line to left center, base hit, and the A's have won it on a walk-off line drive, base hit to left center.
Sactown Sports. The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
That's right. We're live and local all day. That's why you get that breaking news like earlier today when Whitey and Watkins were on about Nick Bosa back with the 49ers. I mean, again, just it's that fragile. It's like a few hours before, like you were talking about Ian Rappaport's like this separation is it's not close and he might miss week one. And you're going, oh man, Niners, how can you bungle this? And then the second he's not like, good, we're all good now.
It's a fantastic feeling. It's such a sigh of relief. Yeah. Like I was telling you, I was having coffee this morning. I wake up. I usually have Twitter with my coffee, not coffee with my Twitter.
Okay.
And I look up Ian Rappaport, or I'm just scrolling. And I see Ian Rappaport, and it's like they're far away from negotiations. Nick Bosa in doubt for Sunday. I'm like, okay, that's fantastic. It's from like one of the main breaking news sources. Sure. He must know something. And then I'm just cruising around the halls here at Sactown Sports, 1140. And breaking news, Nick Bosa signed. Let's go. And that's how I feel. Yeah. It's great. It's like I'm feeling like nice and loose. I'm feeling ready for football. I can relax. I can watch Thursday Night Football now.
Yeah.
Not having to think about Nick Bosa.
And even if they bring him up, it's only in a positive way. The Niners keep one of their guys.
Yeah, he got paid.
Yes. Good for him. Again, 5 years, $170 million extension, $122.5 million of that guaranteed. We got some sound from Kyle Shanahan, even Trent Williams coming up. And I think you'll even be able to hear the tone of that. Like, you know, the league is very much, every sports league is like this, especially when the microphones are on in front of him. You'll hear stuff really in football. Next man up. And that's the way they have to play. But you don't replace Nick Bosa.
No.
That's not, I mean, the next man up would go. It's that the drop off is significant.
Think about the Niners season without Nick Bosa. Yeah. Think about how the Super Bowl ambitions changed. Yeah. Think about how the whole organization looks dysfunctional from the outside.
Yep.
Whether it might have been Nick Bosa's party or it might have been the Niners party that didn't get this deal done in time. If that were to happen, we're talking about a completely different season until this deal got done.
Yeah.
And even if it went into week 2 or week 3, that's something that's like, we should have had Nick Bosa in week 1. We should have had him in week 2. This is ridiculous, right? The fact that they got this done speaks a lot and speaks volumes of just the Niners organization and how they're able to cooperate and pay guys that deserve to be paid.
Yeah.
Like, I think this value is perfect.
Yeah.
I don't think that he didn't get paid enough. Maybe I'll say that after he has 3 sacks in a game. I'll be like, you didn't pay him enough. But right now, it looks great.
Yeah. They had to get it done. They got it done. Maybe a little too late, or not too late, a little late for my liking, but he's in. Should be good to go for week 1. At least that's the hope. If we look at the offense, it should be good. Should be. But let's do our best that we can, FP, to predict into next year, into this season, what we might see. So if we start with the skill players, let's go right to the quarterback, because that's a guy that really, I think, if the Niners don't have the year that we expect, a lot of it might fall back on Brock Purdy. But in limited action last year, threw for a little over 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I really like the touchdown to interception ratio. But I don't know if we need full-on numbers. Obviously, he should have more because he can play more reps. But what kind of year do you expect from a guy like Brock Purdy?
I expect something similar to this and maybe even a little bit better if he can prove early in the season that he belongs again. And I think he's got to go through this weird trial period again with the team. And maybe it's just something he's got to work out with himself and the injury. Maybe he doesn't care at all. Maybe he thinks completely differently than I do. But I think he's got to be consistent.
Mm-hmm.
He can't turn the ball over. That's like the biggest sin of all time with any single coaching staff, but especially with Shanahan. If Purdy can just get the ball to the players he needs to the playmakers, and yet the Yak brothers or the Yakuza Mafia, whatever you want to call them. I don't know. There's a new nickname every single week.
Okay.
Just because they keep on adding talent. Mm-hmm. He's going to be fine. I think like the numbers aren't going to show what his real play is about, right? Because I don't think they're going to be doing a lot of long balls with Brock Purdy. I think it's going to be a lot of checkdowns. It's going to be a lot of block situations, establish the running game. So it's not going to be anything that's going to make your eyes pop, but I think he's going to be good enough to take this team to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then when you get to the playoffs, anything can happen.
Right.
So just thinking short term right now, I think he's going to put up better numbers than here. If you just put it to an aspect ratio, right? 9 games. So what is he playing? 17 games?
And some of those were even like fill in. Like I think he started 7 in the regular season, something like that. So yeah, these numbers will elevate certainly.
Yeah.
And I will say this, he did end up with 4 interceptions last year. I felt like in a couple of games, I thought he took a few more risks that he didn't get punished for. There was a couple times like, oh, I don't know if I would have thrown that, and maybe it went through a defense. Like that happened. So I think the interceptions, I don't know that it's going to be a problem for him. I think he'll throw his share, but just as long as it's not a thing where it derails the team or costs them a game. But I like Purdy. I know they like Purdy, and I would think he's going to have a good year.
I think he's going to have a great year. I wish there was like a first half interception stat. Because if you throw interceptions in the second part of the game, it's a killer. It's a killer. And I don't think I remember Brock Purdy doing that. I think he was very safe with the ball in the second half of the game.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be a huge deciding factor on how well this offense just keeps momentum going. Because again, Shanahan's all about establishing the run game.
Right.
He always says you got to touch the ball 30 times with the run game to be successful. And when you do that, usually the offense opens up.
Yeah.
Well, if he can do that and then let Brock Purdy go, it's going to be nuts.
Well, let's go to that running game. Let's go to Christian McCaffrey. His totality of the year, counting his Carolina games and his Niner games, and his Niner games were ridiculous stats. 1,139 yards on the ground with 8 touchdowns, 85 receptions with 741 yards and 5 touchdowns. He also threw one as a Niner. I feel like that's the area he lives in. I mean, he's a good dual threat. I don't even know how to predict McCaffrey's numbers. If he's healthy, there's no reason he can't have a year like that.
There's no reason why he can't be the MVP.
That's probably true, if healthy.
And I'm surprised there's not a lot of people talking about him being the MVP. I haven't heard that chatter, and maybe they're just kind of filling out to make sure he stays healthy. Because the first thing you hear from anybody is, oh, Christian McCaffrey, he's just going to get hurt again. No, this guy, if he stays healthy, he can really be the MVP. Seriously, he's going to do it all. He's going to be the go-to guy. The only thing that might take away from his numbers is George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah.
Which is going to be the tough part.
Yeah. He's a tough one. Like this whole team offensively is a tough one if we're talking fantasy football, which doesn't matter to the 49ers, but matters to some people out there that you can make an argument for all of them. But I don't know that all of them will be great. Like I think they'll all be good in your fantasy league.
Yeah.
Just as a baseline. But maybe Purdy is the best. I don't think so, but maybe. I would think McCaffrey will be really good. But if some of those guys nibble off just a little bit, it's like, can they all be great is the question.
So do you think, and I know we're kind of going off track here, so I apologize, but if McCaffrey goes down, how does that change the entire dynamic of the offense? Are you concerned? Is it even worse than Purdy going down?
I'm concerned. I think he's the one. He's a little bit like Bosa to me. Like I think the offense is good without Christian McCaffrey. I think it's special with him.
I like that.
That's really the way I look at it. Like, I mean, Elijah Mitchell's good, and some of their other running backs are good, and Shanahan will make it all work. He makes it different, and special.
He opens up doors that weren't previously there.
Right.
He is the it factor for me, and that's going to be what they need to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, because those other guys have been around, and they're all good. Kittle's a good tight end. Ayuk's getting better. Samuel's just a truck. I mean,
you can win without McCaffrey, but McCaffrey makes this offense ridiculous.
Yes.
So I'm circling him. I wouldn't be surprised if he had MVP talk.
Okay.
Seriously.
I like that. All right. Deebo, who self-proclaimed said I was trash last year, or whatever his wording was, I got to be better. Still caught 56 passes for 632, 2 touchdowns, ran for 232 and 3 scores. Had a little contract squabble in the offseason, but he was so dynamic the years prior. I really see a bounce back for him, but I don't know what that means number-wise, FP. I just think it's more of that impact that he used to have, where it's like you always kind of had to spy where he was on the field.
I think he's going to be a more dynamic player. Everybody was saying immediately how much better shape he was in compared to last offseason coming into camp.
And he's showing Coach the pictures of himself.
Showing himself with his shirt off, which is a choice.
Yeah.
But certainly
probably a good one if he has that figure, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, if he got it, flaunted. But Deebo Samuel, when I think about him, I just like Christian McCaffrey is going to take a lot of his like reps away. And that's the tough part, is how you balance this. But what's going to be special about Deebo is he's going to have some games that's like, oh yeah, the Niners have Deebo Samuel too. This is ridiculous. This is not fair. Where he just goes nuts. And I can see him having a pretty good season. I don't think he has a better season than McCaffrey, which is fine.
Yeah.
But if Deebo can commit to his role of being the number 2 option in this offense, that is a great place to be. And he's still going to do fine. And he's going to do a lot better than these numbers, I think. It was just, I think the injury was a thing too at the end of the last season, where these numbers were kind of deflated. But if he stays healthy again, man, my goodness. And it really depends too on McCaffrey, because if McCaffrey stays healthy, you know, Samuel's numbers are going to be down, but you have Deebo Samuel as your really your backup.
Yeah.
What is it? Wide back?
Yeah, because he can, he's the guy that they run reverses with, sometimes direct handoff, throw it to him, short yardage, and just go. So versatile. How about Brandon Ayuk? He already kind of had the breakout. Some people are like, well, watch out for the breakout this year. I'm like, I think he's already kind of had it, and he can do it again. 78 catches, over 1,000 yards, 1,005 and 8 touchdowns last year. Can he go north of that?
I think he has the ability to. Again, it's just sharing the rock enough.
Yeah.
Right. And if they're going to score 50 points a game, sure. His numbers are going to go up. But this is the NFL. This is one of the hardest leagues to compete in. Brandon Ayuk has such an interesting relationship with Kyle Shanahan, because he was in the doghouse in the beginning.
He was.
And then now they're like buddies and best friends and talking about plays and routes and developing plays together. So, like, I don't know. I see like he has a really, really fantastic year too. But maybe just because the hard part is when McCaffrey came in, right? It changed the whole dynamic of the offense.
Yep.
And it was really funneling through McCaffrey, because McCaffrey was just taking so many defenders with him, right? And so many plays were schemed around defensively around McCaffrey. So if you're Ayuk, maybe you're going to see some riches there, but there's only one person that can touch a ball played. How many snaps? Like 80 snaps a game offensively?
Yeah,
something like that.
Roughly, it depends, but yeah, roughly in that range.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, I don't know. I don't know about Ayuk. I would say he's probably gonna have slightly better numbers, but maybe his touchdowns go down. Maybe he still gets his receptions. He still gets his yards. So he's at 78 receptions, 1,000 yards, 8 TDs. I don't know. It's gonna be tough, and that's why, like fantasy football, you talk about it.
It's a nightmare with this team a little bit.
Yeah, it's almost like the Patriots of years past. It's like you didn't really want to take the Patriots, even though they were dominant.
Yeah,
just because, like, okay, Gronk,
right?
Fine, Brady, sure.
Yeah.
But everybody else is like, okay, who's it going to be this week?
Yeah. How did I miss on him? Well, I didn't know he's going to get 8 touchdowns this year, or whoever that guy might be. The one I think that last year had a really good year was George Kittle, 60 catches. He's had more catches than that before, 765 yards, 11 touchdowns was by far his most. I think before that he had 6. I could see his TDs going down.
Yes.
Just because of back to the numbers game.
This is the one that's going to be a tough pill to swallow for a lot of Niners fans, because George Kittle, explosive on the field and an explosive personality off the field. He's a fan favorite, right? He's everybody's favorite on the Niners. Like, everybody loves Kittle. He's really going to transform into a blocker. I really see this coming. Like, he's going to be there and present and make really important plays in the game when you need him. When you need a third down conversion, he's going to come up and make a ridiculous play. But he's really there to just have his way with anybody on the defense and create lanes for the running backs.
Yeah.
That's going to be, I think, his role moving forward, as long as Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, and Ayuk are on this team.
Yeah.
All these numbers are going to go down. This is the one guy I'd circle that if you have George Kittle on your fantasy team, I'm sorry. It's probably not going to work out well. Maybe it does the first week and you're like, FP, you don't know what you're talking about. But I just don't see it working.
Well, I think that's the other trick with these guys. I can literally see a game or multiple games this year where you go, McCaffrey won the game and his stats are, 160 combo with catching, rushing, threw a touchdown, and ran a couple in, And then 2 weeks later, Kittle, 5 catches, 105, 3 scores. You're like, man, I'm glad I had Kittle. But it just, you might miss 3 weeks without those guys. I just feel like they all have the ability to win a game for that offense.
And that's the fun part.
Yeah.
Who's it going to be this week?
Right.
And that's any team, right?
Yeah.
Even when the Kings were having the run, who's it going to be this week? Who's
Yeah.
going to have the game that's going to really help push the Kings forward and get that W? Same thing with the Giants when they were doing well. Same thing with the Niners this year. It's just who's going to be the guy. Whenever a team is really good, you have these problems. Like who's going to get fed the rock the most?
Right.
It's crazy.
It's a good problem to have if you're the 49ers. All right, when we come back, we'll actually hear some sound from Kyle Shanahan, his thoughts on this whole Bosa situation. We'll look ahead to Pittsburgh as well. We've got that and more as we continue here on Sactown Sports.
The first ever NBA in-season tournament schedule is out, and our Kings have some great matchups, including national TV games against the Spurs and Warriors.
And Sacramento has won. They have risen to the occasion. And let me tell you, if you can't sense it, this place is absolutely nuts.
Listen to every game on the home of the Kings, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with zero down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com.
0 down with approved credit.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sactown Sports.
Jason Ross, FP Jr. here this afternoon on Sactown Sports, SactownSports.com. About this time tomorrow, we'll be getting you closer to kickoff for Game 1 of the NFL, Lions and Chiefs. It's always special for the Chiefs, capping off the Super Bowl, getting the banners revealed and all that hoopla, and the Lions are just going to go in there and try to surprise everybody.
That's all they can do.
Yeah. It's fighting kneecaps with Dan Campbell, right?
Dan Campbell, one of the most entertaining coaches in all
He's a character.
sports.
I mean, when he first came in, I'm like, well, okay, easy killer. And then you're like, well, I think the Lions they kind of all bought in, which is like, that's the point of coaching.
Why do football coaches get a pass for being overly cheesy and like super inspirational?
Back to the winning. They won enough, right? The first year he didn't, and it was like, I don't know if he's going to make it. And then, yeah, sometimes there's some of those speeches like, what are you doing? What are you talking about?
Yeah, there was one about, I think in Hard Knocks
Yeah.
with Salah about crows and eagles and
it's like
don't be the crow. You
pecking
get-
at her neck, and we're going to go so high. I'm like,
Could you just imagine like you're in a board meeting that day and like your boss walks in, like you're working for an accounting firm and say, all right, everybody, we're the Eagles today. You know, you don't want to be the Crows. And
Yeah.
you'd be like, what is this guy talking about?
Right.
But everybody in an NFL locker room is like, all right, yeah, it makes sense
got
to
it.
me.
You can do that here. Have you ever been in a distance race of any kind? Bike, run, swim, triathlon, anything like that?
I did cross country once when I was in middle school. That was a mistake.
What do you, how far are you guys running there?
A mile.
If you had a chance to cut the race short, would you have done it?
Yeah. You kidding me?
Did you see the story? Approximately 11,000 runners at this year's Mexico City Marathon have been disqualified after being found out that they cut some of the course short at some point during the 26.2 mile race. Let's see. It was about a third of the 30,000 field. And I don't know if it was one of those things where they followed one person, like follow the leader. This is the group I'm running with, or did they all plan this together? But obviously the signs weren't very good.
This reminds me, like in junior college one time, we had to do a fitness test for baseball. We had to run like 9 miles. It didn't make any sense.
9 miles for baseball?
For baseball. It was ridiculous, right? The coach was just trying to be a try hard. But we like all didn't know the route because it was so elaborate.
Yeah.
We just like cut through all the neighborhoods. We're like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
And we did. And we ran like 3 miles.
That's still a long way.
But we wanted to time it. So we like waited in a park and we're like hiding from people.
You just sat down for a had a sandwich.
Yeah. So that way, we like ended up, all right, let's run some sprints. So we look really sweaty. And then we'll just like finish out the last mile and like show up when everybody else is.
The things that people will do to get out of stuff is pretty good. You know?
I mean, you're playing baseball, man. You don't need to run 9 miles unless you're a pitcher, right? That makes sense because of the endurance, but
I guess.
Come on. 9
Can
miles?
I get fast from home to first?
Yeah.
Right?
It's
gonna run down a
90
fly ball.
feet. It's 90 feet, man.
Wow. Anyway, we'll see if they'll have better signs, I'm sure, next time in that Mexico City Marathon.
Yeah, that's funny though.
Earlier today, Kyle Shanahan did speak to the media. You know, people were asking, they wanted to know about Bosa. Well, here's what he said right off the top, kind of confirming the news.
Can you confirm that Nick Bosa has signed?
Yes, I can.
Now?
No, he's going to try to get here today, though.
Okay, so the word was, too, earlier today, this was the first day of practice, FP, for this week for the Steelers, kind of the rhythm that they get into. So I guess he wasn't there earlier in the day, but if he's on his way, you know, I think the catch-up there won't take him much.
No, I think he's pretty good.
He's pretty good fitness, too, and takes care of himself.
Yeah, he looks like he's in good shape. I wouldn't bet my money against him.
Yeah. More from Kyle Shanahan on the big question, though. Will he play? And if so, how many snaps will he take?
A realistic amount of snaps for Sunday.
How many snaps are in the game? I'm just joking. We got to see when he gets here. I know Nick will come in shape. I know he'll be good. It'd be great if he could get in something today. I don't know when he's going to get here or where he's flying from. But I mean, we'll be smart with it, and that'll be based over these next 2.5 practices.
Get Bosa here. Stat. I mean, yeah, I think that one's got to be 100% feel and communication. Like, hey, Nick, how do you feel? I'll play you as much as you want. Like, are you good? Is your wind? I mean, and that's the other thing that athletes always say, like, there's a difference with game shape. But I know he's been training. That's not it. But it's getting that constant 100% on every snap is what he's going to be given.
You think Kyle Shanahan's getting any flack from Jed York? Like, hey, I just paid a lot of money. Play this guy. Like, I'm trying to get all my money out of him. So please play him immediately
and
as much as you can.
It's also their best play. I mean, I think that you want to do right by the player. And I think it would be reckless, like if for some reason he was coming off injury or you didn't think he was right. But there's no reason to believe that he's not.
Yeah. The best player changes the game completely.
Yeah.
Game changer.
Yeah.
Got to have him like most snaps, right?
Yeah.
Again, it's a field situation.
And I think, too, I mean, again, not to make defense like it's just as simple as see ball, go get ball, and go get player with ball. But you can keep it simplistic. You know, like a quarterback, just if they traded for the best quarterback in the league today, it's like, all right, we're going to have you be quarterback, but we're going to make this very simple for you. For Bosa, it's like, just go.
Yeah, just break the will of the offensive line and go try to kill the guy that with the football.
Be a wrecking ball.
Be a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
Like the wrecking ball.
You know what? Do what you did last year. You figured it out. You were defensive player of the year. Just repeat.
Repeat it.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah.
Everyone does it.
Here's one more from Kyle Shanahan about Bosa's return.
I was 3 minutes late because I just got told of the news. So obviously pumped up about it and try to hit him up after this and figure it out. But I know he's trying to get here as fast as possible.
And we know the reality of all this, FB. I mean, look, it is a business. And I think the athletes, his teammates are happy that he got paid. But it's also, look, they know what it means to have him back. I mean, it's just such an important piece to the puzzle. And they should be fired up. This is a big deal.
Huge deal. The biggest deal.
Yeah.
We were talking about it earlier. You take Nick Bosa off this defense, what are we talking about on Monday?
Right.
Especially if the Niners lose.
Right.
It's like, what was this team going to be like with Bosa?
Yeah.
What is this dysfunction? Where are they not meeting at? There's a million questions. It's just a media storm.
Right.
And you're just avoiding all that. So you get the best player on your team back. Everything's gravy. It sounded like Kyle Shanahan, by the way, was out of breath.
I thought, I wanted to hear the beginning of that too. Was he running here? Let's see.
Yeah.
I was 3 minutes late because I just got told of the news. So obviously pumped up about it. And
was he doing jumping jacks on the way in? Like, yeah,
let's go. Like just shouting. I mean, come
he
on.
should be.
Yeah. If you have your own office,
you
should be able to shout in it.
I think it's okay. I'd appreciate it if my coach celebrated, right? What's the good news, coach? I mean, that to me is like, I mean, the players will find out super fast. Obviously they did, but it's like that's a team lifter.
Oh, huge one.
Yeah.
Huge one. And I think we have some sound from Trent Williams of him just talking about the impact too. which is pretty phenomenal.
Was this sort of hanging over the locker room a little bit?
Yeah, I'll be lying to say it wasn't, because I mean he's such a huge contributor to what we do as a defense and how we play. So it's not like anybody else going down. It's defensive player of the year. You miss people like that. I know it's the next man up league, but a lot of that go out the window when you're talking about a player like that.
He would know. I mean, he's a player like that himself. Like, he's had to block him. He's now the offensive version of him, a Hall of Famer, and he's going, this is a dude that we've got back, and we should be very happy about this.
That's the Nick Bosa equivalent on the offensive line.
Yeah.
Like, that's one of the greatest ever at his position.
Yes.
Saying that about Nick Bosa. So if you didn't think this was a big deal, folks.
Right.
That was confirmed by one of the greatest football players of all time.
And he's not saying it in a way like, hey, I'm just going to prop up my team. He doesn't have to say. We all know what Bosa means to this team.
Yeah, he didn't even have to say anything. Like,
Right.
we're happy he's here. Like,
Yeah.
we knew it was going to get done. He's like, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Like, this was weighing heavy on our team.
Sure. I mean, this is a team, I guarantee you what Kyle Shanahan, what John Lynch, they may not put any of this out publicly, but they think they should be hoisting the Super Bowl trophy at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I think that locker room thinks that. Now, again, there's 100 reasons why it won't happen, but they don't want it to be because Bosa's not there.
Yeah, a lack of talent, that's not going to be the
Right.
issue. It's going to be something else happens.
Yeah, injuries, poor play, a field goal off the upright. Like, you just never know. It's a weird sport.
It's football.
Yeah.
Anybody can beat you on any given day,
Right.
and that's what's so beautiful about it. But just like Trent Williams has so much weight in his words.
Yes.
And the fact he's saying that about Nick Bosa just confirms all of our suspicions.
Yeah.
He's a dude.
Yep.
He's the guy.
And when again, if people get hurt in this sport, and I don't want to treat it as cavalier as like, oh, it was the second string cornerback. Well, we move on. But if someone like Bosa got hurt or didn't sign or was disgruntled and missed half the season in contract squabbles, jobs are in line. People are lining up to be ridiculed. The locker room's going, pay the guy. Like, you start to fracture the team apart. And now they've resolved all that.
Yeah, they were sick of talking about it too, because
Yeah.
every single post-practice press conference, what have you, there's always a Nick Bosa question thrown there. Have you heard anything about the Bosa situation?
What do you think? How do you cope? How do you do it?
I don't know. We're just texting back and forth. He's in good spirits. I
Yeah.
think it's going to get done.
He'll be
And
ready.
Then as it got progressed to this point, it was like, I don't know. I can't tell you guys. I
Yeah.
don't know anything. And that's at the point where you know that players are texting each other in group chats like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
Come on, man. Just sign the thing. And it's like, it's not me. Probably Nick Bosa's like, it's not me.
Yeah.
Which is all you got to say, which is the nice part, being a player.
Yeah. But he does get paid today, guys. 5 years, $170 million extension for Bosa back, and 122.5 of that guaranteed. And he's at that sweet spot to me, FP, of his age, his experience, the awards he's won. I think he's still driven. I love that the team hasn't won a Super Bowl, so it's not like, they've already won one or two. Bosa, maybe those reps that he was taking to get ready, or he cheats on. He's just not. I think they're all so driven right now.
Are you trying to take a shot at Aaron Donald right there? Wins the Super Bowl and just things.
Maybe indirectly.
Yeah, and starts talking about retiring and all this
But
stuff.
I think things do change when you've reached, like, there's so much motivation in chasing than being chased, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's harder to, when you were the Rams last year, it's like, they wanted to win another Super Bowl, but they knew what it took to get there, and it's really hard to repeat and to get back again. And now the Niners felt like they were so close a couple of times. They are really chasing that.
Yeah. I mean, we're chasing that as fans.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
If they could go to another Super Bowl, they got to finish.
You got to break through.
Yeah, this is the time. It's go time.
Yeah, as set up as possible. Now, there's a lot of generational talent waiting to get paid. We know that Bosa finally did, but he's got company with him. Some great players still waiting to get the bag. We've got that as the football season about to begin. More with FP&I. That's straight ahead here on Sactown Sports.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
And then I was selling pretzels out of a cart in San Francisco at
Really?
the time.
Like the people who sell them at the arena or at the stadiums. Like, did you have like a holler,
Like a pretzel barker?
pretzel, something like that? I don't know.
How would that have gone again?
I don't want just to do
Oh,
it
please, it was so
in case
good.
Chris. I'm sure Chris already cut it. Actually, he can. Pretzel. God, I hate him so much.
It's Whitey and Watkins from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sactown Sports.
We're going abroad for the first time in years to Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Innovation Refunds does not provide tax or legal advice. We work with an independent network of tax professionals and will share information with them to evaluate and process your claims. Terms and conditions apply. Ty is a paid spokesman.
I'm Ty Burrell, actor and small business owner. You can trust Innovation Refunds with your small business's ERC claim because of their SOC 2 Type 1 security compliance. Without this, how can you be sure a company can protect your information? It's not like here on the radio, where all you need to be secure is a censor button. My password to my bank account is Ty's cool password 1. Uh-oh. Luckily, Innovation Refunds is more reliable. Go to innovationrefunds.com or call 1-843-REFUNDS to get started.
I'm Ken Korak with your Green and Gold Report, brought to you by Xfinity 10G, the next generation network. Well, so much of the A's future success will depend on the development of their young pitching. Take the right-hander Mason Miller, who back in May, in his third Major League start, no-hit the Mariners for 7 innings. Well, he's spent the last 3 months on the IL, but he's coming back, pitching out of the bullpen here in September. If he can pitch well and he's healthy, that'll buoy his chances of rejoining the A's rotation in 2024. Ken Korak here, introducing you to the Xfinity 10G network. Xfinity is undergoing a multi-year network evolution, giving you a powerful connection today while building toward a faster, more reliable tomorrow. The Xfinity 10G network gives you the fastest internet with even faster speeds rolling out all the time. You also get a consistent and reliable connection when everyone's online, even during peak hours. That's a home run. If you want to learn more, go online at xfinity.com/10G.
I want you to want me.
Gold Country Casino Resort in Oroville presents Cheap Trick live Saturday, October 21st. Get your tickets now at goldcountrycasino.com. Cheap Trick, October 21st at 8 p.m.
Gold Country Casino Resort.
Must be 21 or older.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find: happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health Sacramento will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 916-277-8599. That's 916-277-8599. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Sactown Sports. The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
It'll be great to hear Greg Papa this year on this station calling sack from Bosa and other things. Armstead, that front line, Hargrave, Jackson, all those guys they have up front. But yeah, we are the home of the Niners. Niners on Sunday. They will take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tough game, FP. That's going to be a tough one. We're going to learn more about that coming up with Jerry Dulac at the top of the hour. But that's a tough opener in Pittsburgh.
It is.
Yeah.
I think it's going to set the tone for the season, too. It's going to see immediately what the Niners need to do to make adjustments.
Yeah.
Because they're playing such a well-coached team. I mean, we talk about Mike Tomlin, and we talk about the culture there. You're really going to see the inefficiencies right away, whether or not the offense is ready to run a Kyle Shanahan scheme.
True.
So you're going to see a lot, and it's going to be a very telling game. I don't think Niners fans should overreact. We will.
Of course. Everybody will.
Everybody will. Everybody in the media will. Whether Brock Purdy does fantastic or he does horrible, or if McCaffrey doesn't get enough touches or what have you.
Right.
It's
We'll be critical.
Week 1 is up in the air.
Yeah.
It's almost like a week 0.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about the Niners last year, not only starting slowly, if we're evaluating them and doing the show after week about 7 when they were 3-4, it's like, man, they had the bad loss to the Bears, the terrible Sunday night game against the Broncos, just kind of, Lance is now hurt. Jimmy G's back in the mix. You're like, I don't know what this team is. And then boom, they won the last 10.
Yeah, like nothing too.
Yeah,
like
it didn't look like a Super Bowl team.
It was pretty easy for the most part.
Yeah.
I know there was some touch and go situations throughout that win streak, but you just knew how much better the Niners were than everybody.
Yeah.
Like going into all those games, you felt confident in the Niners organization, in Kyle Shanahan, in whoever was playing quarterback, and then especially Brock Purdy when he took over. You're like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. But by the end, those last 3 weeks of the season, you're like, is this the team we saw 15 weeks ago? Like, it just looked like a different squad.
Yeah, and that's what's happened historically with Shanahan squads, and it might happen again this year. So just be patient.
Yeah.
Don't be the guy on Twitter saying, "Oh, blow up the organization."
I got a tweet.
They don't know anything. I'm telling you, Kyle Shanahan can't win big games.
Got to get more followers. Got to get reaction. Got to get likes or reaction. I know people will be getting reaction around the NFL. Obviously, the news today, but there's 4 players I would say that are, trending to be Hall of Fame type guys that we're looking to get money. Bosa, we now know it's officially he is signed. He gets the big payday today to return to the 49ers, 5 years, $170 million. The story from Kansas City, who plays tomorrow, Chris Jones, even this afternoon thought, basically he wants more money. He wants the extension. They said he still could play tomorrow. Think about that. He could play tomorrow, but hasn't been paid yet. Mixon Joe Burrow, who had the calf injury, but he's going to get paid. His extension's coming. And then Justin Jefferson with the Vikings. So we got like 4, 2 defense, 2 offense guys that should get paid, will get paid, that are kind of waiting for that still.
Yeah, I saw a tweet earlier about those 4 groupings. It just feels nice that you could take Nick Bosa out of that.
Yeah, take him off the list.
But you talk about Joe Burrow, a generational talent at quarterback, somebody that changed an organization seemingly overnight.
Yeah.
Crazy. He's got to get paid, or else you're making the biggest mistake in probably football history.
Yeah.
Chris Jones is a little interesting because he's just holding out. He's trying to get paid.
Yeah.
I think he tweeted something out or said something like, I don't care about excuses. Everyone's got one. I'm just trying to get a raise.
Yeah.
That's all he said.
He's being honest.
I'm just trying to get a raise, which is, you can respect that.
Right.
Common man.
And I would say they'll cave or meet somewhere in the middle, right?
Yeah. It's just whether or not, the Thursday start's kind of difficult for that situation. So maybe he misses week 1. And again, week 1, it's not the end of the world. And I don't think that is like an indictment on the Chiefs organization, what they got going on.
But another team that thinks, now they're trying to go back to back.
And they can.
Yeah.
They have the talent.
Yeah, especially with Mahomes.
Yeah, if Mahomes is on the team and he's active, they have a chance to win a game.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part about having a unicorn like him.
Yeah. It's so great to be in that situation if you're Kansas City. If you're a Chiefs fan, you've had it pretty good here lately. I know there was years and years of frustration, but a couple of Super Bowls, a Super Bowl loss as well. But as long as your point, as long as he's your quarterback, how do you not enter every year going, we got a shot?
It's so funny. I always think about the Chiefs, and this is just a personal anecdote. I was at a bank one day, and somebody was helping out with my finances, and I was opening an account, and this guy had Chiefs gear everywhere. I was like, in Sacramento? Yeah.
The banker?
Yeah, the banker in Sacramento. And we just started talking. It was when they had Alex Smith, and he was like, man, we're going to the playoffs this year. This is amazing. And he was just super ultra passionate, super happy that they were going to the playoffs. And I just think about that guy now every now and again. Like, I wonder how that guy's doing. Because you have Patrick Mahomes now. You've won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a good upgrade.
Yeah, that guy must be. I hope he's not working at that bank anymore, or he's got a higher role because he must be just living on a different planet than us. But isn't it funny how you run into like sports fans from out of town in Sacramento, and you just think about them now? I wonder how they think about the situation. Whether they're like a Cowboys fan or
that bank probably really enjoyed that last Super Bowl.
Yeah, I wonder how he's doing. He's such a nice guy. I always run into people, whether it's a mechanic or whatever.
I'll do that. Like even if it's someone you knew from college or friends, you kind of find out what teams are, and I go, oh, they had to really love that. Oh man, that was a tough loss for him.
Yeah,
whatever it is.
I wonder how that guy's doing.
Yeah.
Oh well, I haven't talked to him in 5 years, 6 years.
But these guys, I think ultimately it'll land there. Like Jefferson's in camp, like they're in Burrow's playing. Like it's just at some point these guys are going to get paid.
Are all 4 Hall of Famers?
Well, they're all tracking it, right? Jones has played the most, so probably Bosa feels like. When you've already won Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, the highest paid defensive player, people would say he's the best player in the game defensively. I want Burrow and Jefferson to do more, but like everything suggests they're going to be.
Yeah. I like to use the term generational because we haven't had this conversation yet. I'm not a big fan of the Hall of Fame in general, just in any sport. I don't think it holds a lot of weight as a fan. I think it's more for the players.
Okay.
But I think they're generational players, and I think they'll be remembered for their time. You got to sign those guys, and they're going to get paid.
Yeah. I didn't know your take on that of the Hall of Fame. So you don't think why is it not mean as much to the fans?
Well, the fans don't really decide the vote. It's all the writers.
Yeah.
Right. And at the end of the day, if you've seen the Hall of Fame class, and we had this discussion when there was the Hall of Fame game early in the preseason, I didn't know half the people going in. And how is it a Hall of Fame if you don't know half the people going in?
Right.
And you could do your research on them.
Yeah.
But half the people didn't even have footage. So how can you call it a Hall of Fame if they're not a household name? And I've always thought that at their given period, if they're the best, right, not the second or third best or should be recognized. I'm talking about you got to be the best. And you have to give some credibility to the players. I think the players should vote in any Hall of Fame process. Until that happens, I really don't think it holds a lot of weight and credibility. I know it means a lot to players.
Yeah.
But to me personally, I don't think it's that big of a deal. And then I went on to say, and this is the hottest of hot takes, that social media, the internet, YouTube, whatever it is, will have a longer lasting impression on those players' careers than the Hall of Fame.
I don't disagree with that. And as far as what they're hearing on social media, or what do you mean by that part of it?
Well, just because of the exposure they get.
Yeah.
So, for example, Odell Beckham Jr. is not going to have a Hall of Fame career, but he's going to be known for that catch forever.
Yeah.
And it's going to be
Multiple
a generation.
catches, but
it's going to be a generational thing, right? You're not going to look at his stats, but his legacy is cemented on the internet forever.
Yeah.
Whereas, it's very accessible. You could just go online. You could get it on your phone even.
Yeah.
The Hall of Fame, you got to go to a location.
Yeah.
Right? It was written by a bunch of writers that, dedicated their life to a craft.
Right.
So you got to respect that to a point. But he wasn't voted in by his peers or anything like that. So I think it holds more weight, the credibility of what the fans think, on the internet, or what players think, right?
Yeah.
Like I can look up an interview of Trent Williams talking about Nick Bosa now. That's going to be on the internet forever.
Yeah.
That's not going to be at the Hall of Fame.
Right.
So I'm going to know how good Nick Bosa was to his team and how generational he was.
Interesting.
So I've always had that take, and it's cool, right, to have the Hall of Fame discussion, but I don't think it means too much to me personally.
Yeah, I think, there's no better label to have as an athlete. Like if you've played your career and you're a Hall of, like you enter the room, here's Hall of Famer, FP Jr., like it's always attached to you. I think that's incredible.
Yeah, really cool for yourself.
Yes.
Right? But for the common person,
right,
I don't think it holds enough weight. And then, of course, you talk about the people that got into the Hall of Fame that shouldn't have been in because, they were, domestic violence abusers. They did horrible, horrible things just in general. And then you have the people that are being left out because of an era.
For
right?
some reason. Yeah, exactly.
Whether it's, what we're talking about,
of course.
the steroid era in
baseball. I think it's ridiculous.
But there's other things too that people just get left out because they weren't liked by media members.
Yeah.
But they're the most famous in their sports history. So
it feels like you should be able to go, like if you're seeing a lineup of athletes, you go, oh yeah, he was Hall of Famer, Hall of Fame. Oh, I don't like if you're like, I'm not sure if they were, then does it feel like they should have been?
Yeah. The bubble guys if it's not a heck he's a Hall of Famer, then it's a heck no.
Right.
I've always lived by that when I think about just generational athletes.
Because some have talked about maybe a Hall of Good. And well, you're not going to make that, but they're more Hall of Good than Hall of Fame.
And how many people have gone from Hall of Good to the Hall of Fame because they were friends with the media?
True.
And they're just and they're just charismatic.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
Yeah. How are you not influenced? Like, I've always liked him or her or whatever. Yeah. Check mark.
Yeah. The biggest one is David Ortiz. Great guy, great player. I'm not trying to take anything what he did because it's still incredibly hard to hit a baseball.
Yeah.
Like the hardest. It doesn't matter what you do or what you take. He had allegations of steroid use and he got voted in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. Slid right through.
Yeah.
Others didn't.
But he's a very likable guy.
Yeah.
And he's really funny. And he's really good on TV too.
He's good at it. All right. Well, we want to remind you, your Sacramento State Hornets kick off the 2023 football season this Saturday night, at least their home opener, that is. September 9th, kickoff is at 7. Get your tickets at hornetsports.com and Stingers Up. All right, we got to check in a little bit, at least on the NBA. The FIBA World Cup continues to go on. We got a couple of ejections that happened today as well. And one connection to the Kings that's still doing well in the FIBA World Cup. We've got that and more. And then again, coming up at the top of the hour, Jerry Dulac will get us even a closer preview on the Steelers and Niners. That's all straight ahead here on Sactown Sports.
Will Brandon Ayuk emerge as a star in the Bay this season?
Now going to throw for the end zone, wide open, Brandon Ayuk.
Ayuk!
Can Fred Warner lead the Niners defense to another deep playoff run?
And Fred Warner with the INT!
Pick City, baby!
Will Brock Purdy hold on to his starting quarterback job?
Purdy going to drop back to pass, try to run forward and go to the end zone standing.
Down and Purdy, baby!
Tune into Niners at 9 every day on the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
On Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Okay, next time you're at the store, I dare you to not think about the unmistakable, fresh, clean scent of Irish Spring. Yeah, you heard me. I want you to resist picturing a shower filled with those sensational Irish Spring suds. And if you succeed, well, you got what my gramps used to call resolutitude. Not a real word, but let's be honest, you're probably going to end up leaving with Irish Spring because of its irresistible scent and because you have zero resolutitude. Pick up Irish Spring today.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up autosave in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools, one bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Autosave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Hey, you want to be around people having a great time? You need to come check out Capital Casino, offering the most varieties of table games in the region in the friendliest environment. Come for the food, which is awesome, of course, and stay and play. Conveniently located in downtown Sacramento at 411 North 16th Street. Right there in downtown Sacramento for over 20 years. Cap Casino, best food, best games, and of course, the best action. And please gamble responsibly. 1-800-GAMBLER.
Some days, my active psoriatic arthritis makes it hard to get in the game. Now, the ball is in my court, thanks to treating my skin and joints with Skyrizi, Risankizumab Rizin, a prescription-only 150-milligram injection for adults.
Nothing is everything.
Skyrizi helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Get ready for a night with Cole Swindell. 2023 ACM Song of the Year winner hits Heart Health Park at Cal Expo in Sacramento, Saturday, September 9th for the CITP2 Fest. And Cole's bringing some friends like Chris Chanson, Dylan Scott, Matt Stell, and more. Tickets start at $40 at CITPFest.com.
Whether you're shopping for your favorite Honda online or in person, you'll see why Stockton Honda is the #1 Honda dealer in Northern California and why buying from Stockton Honda couldn't be smoother. Visit in person or online at StocktonHonda.com, where your favorite Honda is ready for you.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
#1 claim based on 2022 total new and Honda certified pre-owned vehicle car sales from American Honda Motor Company's own one report.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
Sactown Sports.
We've got Respect the Enemy Part 2, I guess. A closer look at the Pittsburgh Steelers coming up at the top of the hour. Jerry Dulac will join us, get some insight on what's going on with the Steelers. Niners Week 1 opponent. Again, that game can be heard right here on Sactown Sports coming up on Sunday. Basketball also is not that far away. I mean, we're just getting ready to start the NFL season, and that's always like get so excited for Sunday. Do you have a Sunday routine, by the way, FP, like for games?
Oh yeah, I do.
What's
I gotta always make sure I have my diehard sweatshirt on, 49ers.
Okay. Oh, so you like, is this a jinx thing or what? I mean, they've lost games in this sweatshirt, I'm sure.
Well, if they lose a game, I gotta change it up next.
Okay.
Week. But and then I have my faithful shirt.
Okay.
All right. I gotta have my sweatpants on.
Wow, you're all geared out.
Yeah. Well, I just got to make sure I'm comfy.
Yeah,
Right. And I'm in a good mindset.
Yeah.
You know, when you go and you like are walking around the house, right, and you finally like look at yourself in the mirror, like, oh my God, you look like a million.
Sunday, it's okay.
At least you have like the gear on.
Yeah.
Right.
But are you feel like, oh man, I was sitting over here earlier and they scored the last 2 drives. Do I stay in that spot? Are you that guy too?
Same seats. Same seats are huge. And you got to understand, I grew up in a baseball family.
Okay.
The most superstitious family you'll probably meet. I'm talking my grandparents, my mom, my sister, my dad. Don't step on the line. Can't step on cracks. Can't go underneath a ladder.
Yeah.
Spill salt, throw it over your shoulder.
Yeah.
Like everything. I'm talking about like when you mix in like baseball family and Italian.
Yeah.
We're talking about some of the most superstitious.
You had no choice.
Yeah. I had no chance. I never had any chance. It doesn't make any logical sense.
Yeah.
I know it.
Yeah.
But
that's what you believe.
Heaven forbid it's my fault the Niners lose again.
Right. It wasn't the turnover. It wasn't the holding. It wasn't the bad call. It was like, I should have. I didn't wear the faithful shirt and I sat in the seat.
What energy did it put out there that caused this horrific incident to happen? Unbelievable. Yep.
I love it. I love Sundays. It's, I mean, I didn't think I would like the red zone. And once I started the red zone, I am like, I can't turn that off. I always record the Niners and the Raiders so I could watch them both full if I get caught up in red zone moments, or especially because this week the Niners are 10 and that 10 o'clock window here, West Coast, when those, I don't know, 8-9 games in that last 20 minutes, it feels like 100 things happen that you want to see all of it and then still watch it. So yeah, I'm all over the board on Sundays.
Oh, the NFL red zone. Don't get me started. One of the greatest human inventions of all time.
It is
one of the greatest productions too.
I would love to host that show one time. I know I couldn't, but I would love to.
just oh my God, look what's happening over here. No, look over here.
Yeah.
They should have a fan version where a fan actually tries to do what who is it this year? I don't
Scott Hansen. Because I know there used to be I can't remember the guy from the NFL Network that does it as well. But yeah, there's 2 different versions of it.
Yeah. So it is Scott Hansen this year, but they're only doing one version now.
I think it's just him.
And he's got one of the hardest jobs, but he's really good at what he does.
He is. He's dialed, especially like when you jump to a game and, you know, we all know who Joe Burrow is or, you know, Justin Herbert, but he's like, oh, the interception by, you know, it's like the Lions' 3rd string corner. And I'm like, how did you pull that and know who that was?
And he's got producers screaming in his, probably not screaming. They're probably like, Joe Burrow right here, threw a touchdown, 60-yard
Or
pass.
when he's directing something, like, wait, you know, hey, can we get back to that Chiefs game? Because, and it's like, he's telling them what to do. It's all over the place.
It's so organic. And they're actually starting to do something like that. I don't know if you've seen it on the MLB
I have.
app.
That's actually really good for baseball. It's perfect for baseball.
It is because there's so many games going on all the time. And I want to – you can't do it with basketball, though. That's the thing. It's so hard
There's
because
too much action.
There's too much action. I would love to see something like that in basketball. Maybe in the future when we have no – attention span whatsoever, we can do that where it's like flipping to every single shot being made.
I did see it with baseball the other day. I go, this is brilliant because you can literally have like 5 on the screen and you're like, maybe one's in a pitching change, one there's a guy in a 1-1 count. Oh, this is like bases low. Like there's something going on somewhere amongst that screen.
In the inside baseball of that whole story, I heard they've been trying to do that for years at MLB Network, and they've tried it and they failed. They tried it and failed, and they finally kind of perfected an algorithm for that.
Okay.
So that's why you're starting to see it. And I don't know if you saw it, but it's kind of popping on the screen. So it's just the sound from the broadcast. It's not so much somebody directing it.
Right. That's good.
So that's kind of the inside baseball of it. I'm like, that's cool. They finally perfected it. And I always wondered, like, what other sports would be really cool to see something like that?
Yeah, basketball would be difficult to do, I think, just because the amount of action. But football's nice. And then on those Sundays, again, it's just red zone's brilliant.
Oh,
absolutely brilliant.
It's the best. I cannot wait.
Yeah. And so, like, that'll go. And the weird thing for me, so let's see, it's probably about 3 weeks from Monday. 2 or 3. Yeah, 3 weeks from Monday, the Kings will have media day. They'll have a preseason game in like a month. Like it's here, basically.
It's here. The greatest time in sports. Yeah. It's really October.
And baseball playoffs, college football.
October is the best month in sports. It really is. Fabulous. Everything is finally starting. It's there. We're happy. We're excited.
And it's the end of baseball. The best baseball is being played.
Yeah. September's like Eve. It's like the eve of the greatest month.
Yeah. Speaking of basketball, FP, the World Cup's going on. I said this before, like when Team USA was playing, like, I mean, I'm always going to be for Team USA, but not really a big deal unless they lose. And then they lost, but still alive. They made the Final Four. I think interesting for Kings fans. Canada's still going along, and they're being coached by Jordy Fernandez, Kings assistant coach, which he was rumored for a bunch of jobs this offseason. I think the Kings are going to have him one more year, and he's going to be somewhere else, but good for him because there's a lot of people looking at him.
Hey, good problem to have. That means something is going well. We've seen it with the Niners. It seems like it's a factory. So if Think about it. If you're just flipping on, you're a Kings fan and you're flipping on games in the future and there's like a coach here that's a head
That's
coach,
a good thing.
coach over here.
You've done well.
Yeah. And you can kind of like invest yourself a little bit with that team. Like,
right.
We would be lying if we said we weren't checking out what the Jets are doing or the Dolphins or even the Texans.
Right.
As, you know, a Niner fan base, just because we know those are Niner products.
Well, it's a sense of pride too, because the Kings never had that happen. It's like a coach got fired, the staff went, and not a lot of people got rehired. You're like, well, how wrong was this decision to even hire them? And now they're gone. Nobody's coveting these guys. But I think Mike Brown, one, is comfortable enough in his own job. Is like, I'm going to hire the guys that probably could be doing my job, but I'm the head coach here. And if they leave, that's a good thing. I've helped them grow. They'll go on and, you know, there's turnaround and payback. Like, he's so friendly and genuine towards Steve Kerr and thankful, and they coach together, and I think they're genuine friends. But I think you help those guys out and just, you know, I think that pays for itself.
Yeah, great problem to have. And again, you have that little added bonus of if you're just watching a game and like, oh yeah, they used to be.
Yeah, this is one of our guys.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So see what Canada does. They made the Final Four earlier today. Canada was playing. It was Luka and Dylan Brooks. There were multiple guys, but both guys got ejected. Separate situations where they got technicals. But Luka complains a lot. He's getting thrown out of World Cup games. Unbelievable.
How about that? Are you really surprised?
No, on both guys. No, Dylan Brooks either.
The one thing that kind of made me chuckle a little bit, I don't know if you saw this, Dylan Brooks was in the tunnel and they had a video.
Boxing gloves.
They had boxing gloves and he was like air boxing.
Yeah. He's like, come on, bring it on. Yeah. It would look like it was playful, but still.
Yeah. I think they knew that, you know, it's just a heat of the moment thing.
Yeah.
And those guys are probably going to laugh about it and see each other. And I know Dylan Brooks doesn't have the best reputation right now, but Luka does.
Yeah.
Luka, he's known as being a complainer, but he's still one of the top NBA players.
Yeah. I'm glad you told me about this. You pointed out earlier on social media, our own Carmichael Dave. There's a tweet that he responded to, and it's Christian Wood signed with the Lakers, 2-year deal reportedly. And I think it's Legion Hoops that put this out, and their phrasing is, and it's a picture of LeBron, AD, and Christian Wood. And the question is, who's stopping this trio? And Carmichael Dave's response, the training staff. Which is pretty good. That group, I don't know about as much about Christian Wood, but AD and LeBron have spent some time being injured, and that's basically what could stop that trio.
Hey, I never root for guys to be injured, but that's, I mean, historically,
it's a reality.
Yeah, it's not out of the realm of possibility. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was
we'll
a good one. Carmichael Dave, stay hot.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we will stay hot too. When we come back, we're going to learn more about this weekend's opponent, Jerry Dulac. He's done everything Pittsburgh, and also some golf coverage too. We'll sprinkle that in with him. But what to expect from the Steelers this week in Week 1 for the 49ers? Jerry Dulac joins us next.
It's the Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross.
Who do they decide on for the Super Bowl?
What do you mean, halftime act?
Yeah. I know that Taylor Swift.
Yeah, turned him down, right?
At what point do people turn on Taylor Swift to be like, why don't you lower your prices? And I understand the whole Ticketmaster thing, but what about the merch? Like, legit, do you have to make $1 billion? Could you make 500 million be it? Could you?
The Carmichael Dave Show with Jason Ross. Weekday mornings from 6 to 10 on Sactown Sports.
All new spring deals are here at Lowe's. Start planting your garden this weekend with Bonnie 11.8-ounce vegetables. Buy 4 for $10. Plus, liven up your patios and decks with fresh blooms. Select 1.5-gallon hanging baskets or 2 for $20. Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Offers valid through 5/17. In-store only. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. While supplies last, excludes Alaska and Hawaii.
I suffered with plantar fasciitis for almost 20 years.
I thought that foot pain was going to be with me for the rest of my life.
If you suffer with plantar fasciitis, the search for pain relief can feel like an endless and hopeless ordeal.
I would try drugstore, insoles and supports.
I've been through surgeries, foot injections.
I was trying all different things. Not a single one worked.
If you think you've tried everything to relieve your foot pain, you probably haven't tried arch supports from the Good Feet store.
And then I was driving past the Good Feet store, and I thought, why not? Give it a try. They wanted to make sure that they gave me the right arch support for my feet. Then it was like, okay, this is different. These make a difference.
I don't have foot pain anymore. I'm so glad I met Good Feet. It changed my life.
See how Good Feet arch supports work for you before you buy with a free fitting and test walk at the Good Feet store.
The Good Feet store. Come in now for a free arch support fitting and test walk.
Okay, next time you're at the store, I dare you to not think about the unmistakable fresh, clean scent of Irish Spring. Yeah, you heard me. I want you to resist picturing a shower filled with those sensational Irish Spring suds. And if you succeed, well, you got what my gramps used to call resolutitude. Not a real word, but let's be honest, you're probably going to end up leaving with Irish Spring because of its irresistible scent and because you have zero resolutitude. Pick up Irish Spring today.
Meet Bruce.
Hey there.
He's a busy soccer dad who's trying hard to learn the game.
Go for the end zone.
Whoops. Luckily, other things come easy, like banking with Chase. On a tip from his banker, he set up AutoSafe in the Chase mobile app. So what are you saving for, Bruce?
Father-daughter soccer camp.
Smart bankers, convenient tools, one bank with the power of both. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
AutoSave requires a Chase checking and savings account. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank and a member FDIC.
Have you ever heard that phrase, less is more? Well, at Harbor Freight, we're all about more for less because we know you like to do stuff, to make stuff, to improve stuff. That's why everything in our stores, from miter saws to tool chests to cordless impact wrenches, is priced affordably. So get out there and drill, paint, and saw to your heart's content. We just ask that whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find: happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
When every shot counts, the professionals at the Hagen Oaks Player Performance Studio encourage you to try the brand new Titleist T-Series irons. Irons designed to enhance your play through control, distance, flight, forgiveness, looks, sound, and feel. With 4 T-Series models, the fitting team at Hagen Oaks will find the perfect Titleist T-Series iron for you. Call 916-808-2531 to find your fit today. Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop, Fulton Avenue at the Cap City Freeway, or online at hagenoaks.com.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios, KHTK-AM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento, the only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Sactown Sports.
The only station in Sacramento giving you local sports coverage from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Friday. Sactown Sports.
Well, we know that Kenny Pickett and Brock Purdy will be the starting quarterbacks on Sunday, FP, but we don't know at this moment who the starting quarterbacks can be for the Arizona Cardinals. Their new coach, Jonathan Gannon, I think it's going to be a rough year for them, said today, yeah, I know who the starting quarterback is, but I won't tell you anything. Oh, Commanders, be ready. Whoever's coming out for that first snap.
Oh, my goodness.
I think coaches sometimes overplay that, but that's his choice, and that's what he's electing to do.
Yeah.
While Kyler Murray is hurt.
What a crazy situation in Arizona.
Yeah.
What a tough fan. Are they up there with the Angels fans right now, just with everything that's been going on?
I mean, I've spent a little time down there. Like, they just have they don't really have a lot of true fans of the teams there because everybody's kind of just moved into the area.
Yeah, especially after the pandemic.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see what they ultimately do. We've got more certainty, though, on our big game this weekend. 49ers, Pittsburgh Steelers, and joining us now, Jerry Dulac, who covers this team for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette and certainly for the Steelers Radio Network. Jerry, I'm Jason, along with FB. How are you?
I am well, fellas, and I hope you are too.
We are. I think a lot of people here are feeling a little bit better, a situation you could probably relate to, that Nick Bosa finally signed today. How similar does this feel to you about TJ Watt?
Well, it's a little different situation, fellas, in this regard. TJ Watt was a hold in. He was at training camp every day. He was at the preseason games, just waiting to sign that deal. Both he and the Steelers agreed to that situation. He took part in doing his individual work, but he never participated in team drills during training camp, and he never participated in a preseason game. But he was around every day, just waiting to get the deal done. And so a little different than Nick Bosa's situation, in that Nick Bosa, you guys would know this better than me, I'm assuming, has never been around camp, right? Did not wasn't even around, and so until I guess now tomorrow. So it's a little different situation, but even Mike Tomlin, I'm sure Nick Bosa, I'm sure he wasn't sitting on the couch eating barn buns. I'm sure he was working out. And even Mike Tomlin said the other day, guys like TJ Watt and Nick Bosa, you know, that's why they're special. They go and do what they do, you know, with little amount of work. TJ Watt came off that no team drills, no preseason games in the opener in Buffalo, and had 2 sacks and a forced fumble. And they're, you know, the Steelers were practicing today. You know, they had a 97 out there in uniform, you know, simulating Nick Bosa. And so they've been anticipating all along that he was going to play, and we'll see how effective he can be.
Jerry, do you see a lot of similarities between TJ Watt and Nick Bosa, or are they different in subtle ways?
Well, I don't get to see Nick Bosa, obviously, like I do TJ Watt all the time, but there is no question they are powerful pass rushers, edge rushers, whose quickness and strength, you know, they're not the biggest guys. I mean, you know, but they are sturdy. They are strong. They're wired, and you know, so I see that they use their hands very well. That they have that explosive first step. You know, I think obviously Nick probably plays with his hand in the ground a little bit more than TJ does. But I don't think I think Nick is probably more of a factor in the run game maybe than TJ. But they're both special players on the edge. That's the similarity, of course, that I see.
Jerry, offensively for Pittsburgh, an area that needed to get better. Now it seems like they've settled in on Kenny Pickett. What are the expectations for Mike Tomlin on Kenny Pickett this year?
Well, fellas, the expectations here in Western PA, they're through the roof. It's beyond hype. I call it hysteria. You know, and, you know, after what we witnessed for the 2 years under Matt Canada, that was going to be the big question mark. And here comes the first team offense in 3 preseason games, 5 series, 5 touchdowns, averaged 11.7 yards per play. Kenny Pickett was 13 of 15, 199 yards, a perfect 158.3 passer rating. I mean, the offense couldn't look any better. But, fellas, I've been around way too long. I don't care if the Steelers were 3-0 or 0-3 in the preseason. I don't put much stock in it. All that being said, at least we saw from the offense some of the capabilities, considering and, of course, taking into account Tampa Bay didn't play their starters. Buffalo played them for 2 series, and Atlanta didn't play any starters in the game, in the final preseason game. But, you know, I equate it to, you know, having a 3-foot putt, a birdie putt. You got to make them. And the Steelers, I don't care who they were playing against, they had to take care of business. And if it's second or third line guys, okay, then your job is to go out and beat them up and dominate them. And that's what they did. So I give them credit for that. We'll see now what happens against that 49er defense that was the best in the NFL last year.
So you talk about hysteria. I don't know if you knew about this, but the Niners had a QB controversy or just a lot of drama in their quarterback room. I'm interested to hear your perspective on Brock Purdy and just the general perspective nationally. Obviously here we think very highly of him, but what do Steelers fans and yourself think of Brock Purdy heading into week 1 against the Steelers defense?
Well, you know, the first thing I think when I see with Brock Purdy, and I will tell you, the quarterback coach for the Steelers really liked him coming out. They thought they were surprised he lasted till the 7th round. He liked his composure. He liked how calm he was. He liked his throwing motion. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, you know, he wasn't surprised at how he performed. What was he, 7-0 until the last playoff game? Where they averaged 35 points. But I think part of it, I don't think there's any question, a lot of that is Kyle Shanahan's offense. You could plug, and I don't want to take anything away from Brock Purdy, but we have seen a number of quarterbacks operate in that system and be very effective. All, of course, with the exception of Trey Lance. And so, but you have to be impressed with what Brock Purdy did. You know, Mr. Irrelevant, last player picked in the draft, and just comes in and looks as calm and as cool as can be. and beyond that, he's productive. So, I think, again, I don't think the Steelers are dismissing anything Brock Purdy has done, but I also think they realize Kyle Shanahan's system, that type of quarterback is perfect when you look at multi-dimensional player like Christian McCaffrey, you look at Deebo Samuel, look at George Kittle. Mike Tomlin said the other day, it's quite possibly each of those guys are the best one-on-one players in space in the league at their position, and he's probably right. And, of course, you could start an argument as to whether they are or they're not. But, man, those guys are playmakers, and when you have those kinds of guys in that system, the quarterback has a good chance to thrive. And all that being said, the fact that he did as a rookie was very impressive.
Jerry Dulac joining us from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, also the Steelers Radio Network. Jerry, FP and I were discussing Mike Tomlin earlier. Just in awe, really impressed with what he's been able to do consistently. You've worked with him. You've seen him. What is the secret sauce for him? Why is he so successful all these years?
Yeah, 17 years, and, of course, in 16 years, never had a losing season. Think about that, fellas. That's hard to do. And now, I know he had Ben Roethlisberger all those years, and Ben Roethlisberger never had a losing season even before Mike Tomlin came around. 18 years without a losing season with Ben, and that was a big reason. But, Mike Tomlin's, I think his greatest strength is not letting his players get too high and not letting his players get too low. He's singularly focused each week. I will say this, too. He is a football junkie. If there's a coach in the league who studies more film on other players, I don't know anyone else's habits, but I'd be surprised to know that any coach watches more film than Mike Tomlin. So he has a great understanding of individual players around the league. And I think he does, as I said, I think he does a wonderful job with 53 guys, letting, with the exception of a handful, like a TJ Watt or Minka Fitzpatrick, not dangling it over their head, but letting them all know that, hey, you're one bad play maybe away from let's put this other guy in. And then he does a good job of telling the reserves, look, you're one injury or one play away from going into games. So he keeps 53 guys invested in their job. And I think those are among his special qualities beyond whatever he is as a game day coach. And let's face it, it's just hard to argue with his success in the regular season. 16th winningest coach all time. And that's pretty impressive.
Well, that's absolutely incredible. Just great stuff there, Jerry. I have to ask you a question here about just the Pittsburgh Steelers in general. Who is somebody that maybe sports fans up here in Northern California just don't know about on the Steelers team, on this roster, that you think is going to have a big impact on Sunday?
Well, fellas, I know he's gotten obviously great attention here, and I don't know how much of it is around the league, but their second-year receiver, George Pickens, is a big-time talent. And I'm trying to remember who it was last week, whether it was Ryan Clark or somebody, one of the national media people, said that they think he's better than Justin Jefferson. This guy, even in practice today, Kenny Pickett threw a pass over the middle that sailed. And you could see it was going to go, was going to probably be incomplete because it was too high. And George Pickens is running a little slant route, almost like a skinny post. And he puts up his right arm and kind of cups it and cradles it and pulls it in. And he does this all the time. He is a big play, big talent receiver. And he is a guy who does it repeatedly. Comeback catches along the sidelines, those 50-50s, they should call it a 75-25 ball with him because he's coming down with it the majority of time. And he is a guy that I would say is going to be one of the best big play wide receivers in the National Football League, and it's only his second season.
Wow. So if Pickens has that kind of year, if Pickett lives up to some of the excitement that's going on around in your area, it's a really good division, and you know it. I mean, the history with the Ravens, what the Bengals have done lately, and the Browns should be better. Where does Pittsburgh fall in line in this division, do you think?
Yeah, fellas, they were 9-8 last year. They finished 7-2. They were 9-8, missed the postseason by one game. Well, I definitely think with all their offensive players being a year older and all intact, and then they bring in Isaac Seumalo, from the Eagles to be their left guard. They've improved what was the most improved unit on the team last year, the offensive line. And then I look at some of the additions they made on defense, totally revamping their inside linebacker position with 3 new players. And you know, that was the biggest question mark on the defense. I think adding Patrick Peterson and drafting Joey Porter really helps the cornerback position. So what I'm getting at is I think they're at least 1 game better. So that puts them at 10-7. And I think with a little luck, you know, a couple right bounces with scheduling, maybe whatever the case may be, 11-6 is, to me, is certainly reachable. I still think the Bengals are the class of the division. I expect them to win their 3rd title in a row because they have the elite quarterback. They have those 3 receivers. They can run the ball and they can get after the quarterback. And when you could do that, that's a pretty good combination. So I would expect the Steelers to challenge for 2nd place. I think they're a playoff team. You know, they haven't won a playoff game in 6 years. That's the longest drought that they've had since they first made the playoffs in '72. And they've been embarrassed in each of those 3 losses, allowing an average of 45 points in those 3 losses. So getting to the playoffs postseason is going to be one positive step, and I think they can do it. But then they have to win a playoff game because they haven't done that, and they better, if they win it, they better do it by not being embarrassed. And so I think that's what you're looking at with this football team.
Wow, Jerry, this was really good conversation. We appreciate your insight. We'd love to do it again during the season and enjoy week 1.
Well, fellas, thank you. Holler anytime. And yeah, it should be, it's going to be it's a great test for the Steelers after everything we saw in the preseason. What better way to see if that's reality or just hype by going against the number 1 defense in the league?
Yeah, it should be a great matchup. Thank you, Jerry.
All right, fellas.
All right, that's Jerry Dulac. Really good information there. We got to recap some of that. Oh, my bad on that one. We're on lockdown. There we go. Thank you,
there we go.
Yeah. We'll recap some of the things. Yeah, they have really good insight there. We got to pick apart some of that. We get some more reaction on the Bosa signing and hear again from Kyle Shanahan. That's all coming up.
Can the Niners build off their NFC Championship appearance from last season? How will the quarterbacks perform throughout the year?
Purdy back, now going to throw for the end zone, wide open, Brandon Ayuk is on fire!
Will the defense lead this squad again?
Intercepted, ball got tipped up and taken by Fred Warner.
Get all your 49er coverage throughout the NFL season on Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Gold Country Casino Resort Norville is proud to present one of the most powerful voices in country music.
Come on now, we're running out of moonlight.
Randy Houser, live in concert on Saturday, September 23rd.
Let me show you how. Country.
Purchase your tickets now to see all of Randy Houser's greatest hits. Only at
Gold Country Casino Resort.
Must be 21 or older.
At Ashton & Price, we get injury victims to yes. Experience, yes. Ashton & Price has been around for over 25 years. No more insurance companies? Yes. Our clients focus on getting better, and we handle all the rest. Results? Yes. We've collected over $100 million for injury victims. No fee until we win? Yes. Our clients pay nothing until we win. Ashton & Price, the best at getting to yes. Remember, for the best advice, don't think twice. Call Ashton & Price.
Your flagship station for the Beam Team, Sactown Sports.
Our thanks again to Jerry Dulac for joining us. Really good conversation there, FP, and he's dialed in on Pittsburgh. You can see, I think, realistic expectations, not crazy talk, but you can see what some hype can do and people in Pittsburgh getting excited for their team.
Yeah, they're getting very excited. I mean, George Pickens, my goodness.
Yeah.
And then Kenny Pickett. There's a lot of picks going on.
Yes.
There. So
Yeah.
maybe not the best names for football
Not
players.
for a quarterback. Pickett.
Yeah, but I mean, they're very high on these two guys, and it's very exciting just how much, hype is around this game this weekend for both fan bases, really for just NFL fans. Just fantastic insight by Jerry, though. Just going into, the defense and what they think about the defense and what they think about Brock Purdy, too.
Yeah, they were fans of him going in. Couldn't believe he lasted to where he did. Obviously, Pittsburgh could have taken him. They didn't. Other teams could have. But, respect for him, but also I I think there are some parallels, though. Really, teams that have great defense. I think the Niners probably at this point have a better offense, but that's what Pittsburgh's trying to get to.
Yeah, they're trying to get to exactly where the Niners are. And I think he predicted, what was it, 11-6?
Would be like maybe the high point. Like
The
they
high
were,
point.
9-8 last year. He goes, I could certainly see 10 wins or 11.
It's crazy because up here in Northern California, a lot of people can see that because of Mike Tomlin and just what he's done. And he finally has pieces, right? So that's why you got to respect your enemy going into this weekend. You got to not assume, but expect that, things might go sideways in the game and the Niners are going to get punched and knocked down and they got to get back up. So really fun and exciting stuff. But can I tell you one thing that Jerry was locked in on that I kind of want to talk about?
Okay.
So he mentioned Brock Purdy, and I'm always interested on what people around the country think about Brock Purdy because we're drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah,
here.
we're dialed in closer to him here.
Yeah, we think he's good, right? We think he could be the guy, especially now they are fully committed. Trey Lance is gone. He said that Brock Purdy is one of those guys, and he didn't want to be disrespectful. It's very clear that, you plug him into a Kyle Shanahan offense, and he could be a good quarterback. I'm wondering if Brock Purdy can break that mold because how many times have we heard people say that about the quarterback situation in San Francisco? It's not the quarterback. It's Kyle Shanahan. Okay. It's not Jimmy Garoppolo. It's Kyle Shanahan. Okay. It's not Trey Lance. It's Kyle Shanahan. Now it's no, not Brock Purdy. It's Kyle Shanahan. So I'm very interested to see if Brock Purdy can break that mold, do something different to show it's not just Kyle. Okay, guys, it's Brock Purdy.
Yeah. Well, you need both, right? But I think, you're right. Sometimes the quarterback, if they have so much talent, like I think Mahomes will always it's just Mahomes, even though he's got, I think, had a great caller in Bieniemy and even Andy Reid. But but then where would you fall in line there on the Trey Lance part? Like in that, if it's a guy that they saw that they thought they could mold and then already are done with.
Well, it's not Trey Lance's fault. He didn't have enough reps. Come on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly.
See?
Yeah.
The only other conversation I can remember having like this is it Bill Belichick or Tom Brady? Right. So maybe, fortunately, that'd be a great conversation to have. But it's so interesting how the players really don't get enough credit sometimes for how good they are. I mean, I don't want to throw, again, Jerry Dulac, fantastic, came on, a lot of great insight. And he prefaced it saying like, hey, the Steelers are even high on Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting to hear from other sources, like it's not just about the quarterback, okay? It's Kyle Shanahan doing a lot of work too.
Yeah, I think sometimes too, maybe narratives or whatever. I don't want to say get lazy, but if something's been successful and then the next round is successful, it's like, well, obviously that works and credit to whatever that system is. Is it a Belichick defense? Is it a Kyle Shanahan offense? Is it an Andy Reid offense? It just feels like those guys plug and play, like Mike Tomlin, all this years of success. It's got to be Mike Tomlin. Well, yes, but it's also the guys doing the work on the field.
Yeah, I think that's the answer. At the end of the day, it's both parties.
Of course.
You need the marriage to work, right? It's a team game. It's not the Brock Purdy show, right? You're going to see the San Francisco 49ers, not the San Francisco Kyle Shanahans, even though some people want to preface it that way. And I understand Kyle Shanahan is an offensive genius, so give him his credit.
Yeah.
But I'm really interested to see if Brock Purdy at some point this season will have another, rider on from an opposing team that the Niners are going to play, or maybe a national perspective. We could finally get it out of somebody like Brock Purdy is that guy.
Yeah.
It's not just Kyle Shanahan.
Well, the Niners hoping for that. That's for sure.
Yes, sir.
The other thing that I found interesting too from Jerry was just, when you cover a team or see a team or you watch every game of a team, you're just so much closer to it. So that's where having a guy like boots on the ground there is Jerry, because he's going to know all the ins and outs. And, we may not be as tied into what the community's thinking, and his reference point of, it's been 6 years since the Steelers have won a playoff game, not been to the playoffs, which, I mean, Pittsburgh and San Francisco are two of like the powerhouse franchises of the NFL. And I'm looking at longest NFL playoff droughts right now, FP. Jets, 12 years. Broncos, 7 years. Lions, 6 years. And you have two teams at 5 in the Falcons and Panthers. That's of making the playoffs. Steelers have been there 3 times in this run, but haven't won a playoff game in 6 years. When they're thinking really, much like the Niners, they're measured on Super Bowls in Pittsburgh and in San Francisco, not, hey, when was the last time we made the playoffs?
Yeah, that really shocked me. That was a jarring stat that Jerry just dropped out of nowhere. I didn't realize that the Steelers, one of those historic organizations with a legendary coach, probably one of the greatest coaches of all time,
has been losing playoff games badly lately.
Yeah, hasn't won in 6 years.
Yeah.
I almost had to do like a head turn, and YouTube saw my reaction.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. But
That's
it's a
crazy.
different measuring stick. It's like, hey, we've made the playoffs 8 straight years in a row. If you want a Super Bowl, like Pittsburgh's, Cowboys, Patriots, Niners, like, again, the leaders in all-time Super Bowl wins, all of those are up. That's what they're measured on.
Yeah. The Blue Bloods? Are they the Blue
Kind
Bloods?
of, yeah. And, I mean, there's a lot of fans, though. Pittsburgh travels well, too. Like, if this game was in San Francisco, there'd be more Niner fans, but there'd be Pittsburgh fans there.
I remember. Was it a year ago or probably 2 years ago? I forget, because I know the schedule flips, right? And it runs.
Yeah, when you get to play. Yeah, but Pittsburgh was here a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, there were so many terrible towels, so many yellow towels around the stadium. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like, I knew Steelers fans were out and about, but I didn't know like this much. And funny enough, you can meet a lot of Steelers fans in the Sacramento area.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, if you ask around or you're at work, you probably know one.
Yeah, right.
You really do.
Just look just a little bit. You'll find one.
Yeah. So, but they're not like insufferable fans. They're very, very straightforward to the point. They love their team. They're not going to rub it in. Very classy.
Yeah.
Just like the organization. So, I mean, it's funny because you talk about like this crazy gridiron game. Guys are going to be hitting each other really hard on Sunday. And we could just have a civil discussion about how good each other's teams are.
Sure.
And it was really cool. The other little nugget that Jerry dropped on us, and thanks again for Jerry Dulac to come on. The number one defense. He dropped the number one defense. The Steelers are going to have a good test against the number one defense. Yeah. And I kind of went, okay, I'll put my chin up in the air.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah. But Pittsburgh's been a number one defense before, and they're very good. Like, I almost wonder if they're going, I'm hearing enough about the Niners being number one. Like, they were, I can't remember where they finished, but they were way up there too. And they're like, we've got 2 years ago the defensive player of the year. We got a great defensive line. We got some good secondary. So I bet that's a little bit of an ego check for them.
Yeah, it is an ego check, but what a compliment. Because, I mean, when Jerry's covering a team with historically good defenses and he says, no, the Niners are the number one defense. This is going to be a great test for the Pittsburgh Steelers offense. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Let's
go.
Okay. I understand it. I mean, on paper, yes.
Yeah.
The Niners are loaded. They are stacked. But you never know what's going to happen throughout the season. You never know how it's going to play out. I mean, heck, we just learned the difference between TJ Watt's holdout and Nick Bosa's holdout is completely different. TJ Watt was around.
I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, he wasn't participating in the practices, correct? He was just kind of standing around in the room, kind of going over schemes. Nick Bosa has been nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's not an indictment on Bosa. It's just how the situation unfolded between the two franchises. Just crazy. So I'm excited to see now, and dare I say a little nervous to see how Nick Bosa is going to react to a new defensive coordinator on Sunday.
That's true. This one, Bay Area radio station, Nick Bosa's mom, Cheryl, was on. And this is a quote that's going around social media when asked if Nick would be ready to play. Quote, physically, this is mom speaking on her son. Physically, he's a specimen. He's in better shape than he's ever been in his life. He's faster than he was. He's stronger than he was last year. If you can imagine, that's all a fact. That's coming from mom.
Is mom in the weight room?
I don't know.
How does she know that?
In the Bosa family, she's probably getting reps up.
Mrs. Bosa, are you in the weight room throwing it up with them? I wouldn't be surprised.
I woun't either. And what does it mean for the team? Well, Kyle Shanahan was asked that earlier today. How many snaps can we expect from Mr. Bosa?
A realistic amount of snaps for Sunday.
How many snaps are in the game? I'm just joking. We got to see when he gets here. I know Nick will come in shape. I know he'll be good. It'd be great if he could get in something today. I don't know when he's going to get here or where he's flying from. But I mean, we'll be smart with it, and that'll be based off of these next 2.5 practices.
I could say this, Coach. If you don't play him, mom's calling. Mom says he's ready, right?
Yeah.
My goodness. All right. Well, good news today for the Niners. Bosa is back, $122.5 million guaranteed, but 5 years, $170 million. We'll be back as well. When we come back, is Deion Sanders great for college football? What a week for the Pac-12 in their last and final year. We've got that next.
It's Whitey and Watkins on Sactown Sports.
When Joe Montana retired, he was, of course, regarded as what? The greatest of all time. Many in this area, of course, and bless you if you're one of them, still consider Joe Montana the greatest of all time. Whatever.
Is that what people from Boston sound like to you?
I mean, 4-0's 4-0.
It's Whitey and Watkins from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Sactown Sports.
Sacramento weather is brought to you by Bonnie.
I'm Mark Finan in the KCRA3 Weather Center. Skies will stay clear tonight. We'll have a breeze that'll cool us to about 60 by morning. Tomorrow will be sunny and warm with a high of 92. Get the latest forecast on the KCRA3 News and the KCRA3 app.
It's been said an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And when it comes to a nice, cool summer, it's so true. Right now, get a complete air conditioner tune-up for just $79. Bonnie. Plumbing, sewer, electrical, heating, and air. Bonnie.com. Some restrictions apply. License 696355.
Experience a golf tournament as refined as you are. The Fortinet Championship returns to Silverado Resort September 14th through the 17th. Be there as the best of Napa meets the best of the PGA Tour. With wine experiences, rockin' shows, and incredible golf. It's like this weekend was made for you. The Fortinet Championship, September 14th through the 17th. For tickets, go to FortinetChampionship.com.
Get ready for a night with Cole Swindell. The 2023 ACM Song of the Year winner hits Heart Health Park at Cal Expo in Sacramento, Saturday, September 9th for the CITP2 Fest. And Cole's bringing some friends like Chris Jansen, Dylan Scott, Matt Stell, and more. Tickets start at $40 at CITPFest.com.
O'Reilly. Protect your engine against sludge and wear with a synthetic oil change. O'Reilly Auto Parts has 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil for $35.95. Plus, get a $5 O reward to use on a future purchase. Our professional parts people can also recommend all the supplies you need for your next oil change. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you're always looking for ways to position your operation to create opportunities and move on them faster. With Bank of America, you get access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
When my daughter gets a cold, I have a secret weapon. DayQuil Kids Berry from Vicks. DayQuil Kids is specially formulated to treat kids' most bothersome cold and cough symptoms quickly. And the best part is that DayQuil Kids Berry tastes really great. Aren't you supposed to be resting? Maybe.
DayQuil Kids Berry. The kids' berry-licious daytime congestion, coughing, stuffy head, stuffy nose, just for kids. Medicine. Safe for kids 6 years plus.
Folsom Lake Ford has trucks. The F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Broncos and Bronco Sports. They're in stock now at Folsom Lake Ford. Shop Folsom Lake Ford, your truck headquarters, right here in Sacramento for your favorite Ford models at good, fair prices. Short on cash? Buy any new Ford with 0 down. Save big with low interest finance rates. Plus, Folsom Lake Ford is paying top dollar for all trades. We want your vehicle regardless of mileage or condition. This could be the best time to buy a new Ford. Check out the huge inventory online at FolsomLakeFord.com or stop by the dealership and see the most recent arrivals. Looking for something special? Give them a call and tell them Doug Christie sent you. Folsom Lake Ford in the Folsom Auto Mall, your trusted dealer, my trusted dealer for over 30 years. FolsomLakeFord.com.
0 down with approved credit.
Your new home for 49ers football in the 916 Sactown Sports.
College football back this weekend here locally. Sacramento State Hornets at home opener this Saturday, 7 o'clock. Get your tickets at hornetsports.com. It's Stingers Up. I know you're a big college football fan. Week 1 was, I would say, schedule-wise, very anticlimactic. Didn't have a great opening week 1, but the story may have become, well, later in the weekend, Florida State's win and maybe Duke's win on Monday. But Dion in Colorado, how about that on Saturday?
The story of the Pac-12 out of nowhere.
13-0.
13-0.
Yeah, 2 wins for SC, and everyone else won.
Yeah, clean sweep. What a fantastic story, though, in Colorado. I was so keyed into that game. Of course, you have TCU coming off a national championship appearance, and then Deion Sanders and his Colorado Buffaloes going to show up. How are they going to do? So, I just kind of watched kickoff.
Yeah.
I didn't expect too much of it. Actually, I thought, full disclosure, I thought the Buffaloes were going to get beat on pretty badly, as a lot of people did.
Supposed to, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't believe Deion. I'm sorry.
He's coming after you.
And he's going to come after me, and that's completely fine because he proved me and everyone else wrong, and just what a fantastic story. The one guy, though, that I'm still finding myself, especially in those times where you have your free time right after work or when you have some downtime, I'll be looking up Travis Hunter highlight videos just of that game.
Yep.
And my goodness, I am so mind blown. They were calling him Travis Ohtani.
Yes.
Just because he's playing both DB, wide receiver, making it all happen. What's the difference in that game?
He was incredible. The interception he had at the goal line is he had 10 or 11 catches. He was one of his great recruits that he had that he brought over. And, the think pieces, the articles, the stuff you read, it's all over the place on Deion. And I think Deion is good for the game because he gets people talking, and the more people you get talking about college football, and there are negative thoughts about Deion, there's positive thoughts. I think Deion is asking for a lot of this attention, and that's okay. That's always who he's been. And, I saw stuff FP from, people writing when Deion's questioning reporters, do you believe now? It's not the job of the reporters to be on his hype train, but also I have no problem with Deion kind of calling them it's a fun game. And it's been one game, but I think it's getting people talking about him, talking about the sport. And I don't know where it's going to go from here, but it's exciting to watch.
I'm I'm all in on Deion now. I'm really all in. I'm going to be watching every single Colorado game just because how exciting. I mean, his son just going nuts too.
Just an incredible day that he had.
Yeah. And then Dylan Edwards too, the little wide receiver, was fantastic as well. So they have 3 dudes on that team that are a lot of fun to watch. I'm just a little concerned that Deion is setting himself up for a lot of criticism.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, this team, they had a lot of flaws in that game. TCU, one thing goes another way. They could have won that game. But if Deion loses, right, and it's to a smaller opponent, because now they're nationally ranked. They're on the scene.
Yeah,
they're 22 in the nation.
Okay, I didn't know what they were. Yeah, 22.
Deion's setting himself up for a lot of criticism as soon as if they lose, right? If they have a perfect season, we're talking about
that would be stunning.
Probably the sports story of the decade so far. Crazy, crazy stuff. So if they lose or when they lose, he's going to open himself up to a lot of criticism. A lot of people are going to go after him.
Yeah.
But don't you want that though? Don't you want to go after don't you want to go after the coach though? As a coach,
as opposed to the
come
players.
after me, not after the players.
Yeah.
So maybe he's kind of being a shield for them.
Yeah.
In a weird roundabout way. So maybe think about that when you're hearing these ridiculous quotes. I think he called out a reporter for not believing in him during the post-game press conference and said, I saw that bull mess.
Yeah.
You're writing, and just completely called him out, which, full target now on Deion.
Sure.
That writer's going to go after him as soon as anything goes sideways. So just very, very cool weekend. I'm interested if all this excitement around the Pac-12 and how well it's doing. I know this is the last season.
Yeah.
Irony. So sweet. Are you going to be keyed in to college football if you're not watching it?
Yeah, I mean, that's for me. I'm locked in. That's my conference. That's what I love. I'm in, but I wonder about the others.
Yeah, so we're college football fans, so we could talk about this until we lose our voices.
For sure.
But for other fans that are just like, no, I'm a pure NFL guy.
Yeah.
I'm just this, or you know what, basketball is my sport. I'm not really into football. Is this Pac-12 awakening? Is Deion Sanders and all the cool things he's got going on? Just all the great quarterback play in general in the Pac-12.
Yes.
Are you going to be tuning into a game now? Now, when you see a game on and you're flipping through channels, are you going to go backwards? Like, USC.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'll give it a try. Are you going to do that?
It's a good question. I mean, again, I think it was the perfect storm for Colorado and Deion. It was week 1. The NFL hadn't started. There was no NFL preseason, right? It was a Saturday on its own, and it felt like it was the only game on. I know there were a few others, but it wasn't a great opening week. Sometimes week 1 we've had the game of the year already, and it's Alabama and Texas or something, or, whatever. Pick your 2 teams, powerhouses, but a lot of the top teams were playing patsies, basically, let's say, and they were going to be easy victories. And this one, I think, gave some intrigue. It was on, and then like, hey, Colorado's hanging around. And then it was high score. Was it 45-42, something like that? It was really entertaining. So this week they play at 9. I think it's against Nebraska. It's on Fox. So
in Colorado.
So the fans will be there. Nebraska's not the same as they used to be, but I think that if Deion gets to 2-0, he's going to talk some more, and they'll get even more attention.
I'm interested to see if the Colorado Buffaloes are going to pull more than the Denver Broncos for the first time in that state's history.
Oh, wow. I can't imagine.
Well, listen here.
Okay.
In their preseason practices, they sold out.
Okay.
The entire stadium.
Wow.
Which is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know this, Denver Broncos, that's their thing.
Yes.
Everything else is secondary. The
Right.
Avalanche, of course, are incredible in hockey. The Nuggets just won the championship. And the Rockies are the Rockies.
Yeah, but it's Denver Bronco
but
football.
it's still Denver Bronco football. It doesn't matter how many NBA championships they win there. It's going to be Denver Bronco football,
Yeah.
and that's just how it is. This is going to be very interesting if the Buffaloes can do anything, right, and continue a win streak or something like that. They have, I think it's called a gold and blackout. So you got to wear gold or black.
Yeah.
And everyone is expected to be there.
Yeah.
So just really cool side story, right? I think a lot of California fans are going to hitch their wagon to that. I think they're going to watch, USC play a lot of good football. You're going to see Oregon play a lot of good football. It's interesting. You're going to have guys to watch and play.
You didn't mention, I didn't hear UCLA out of there.
UCLA.
I hope they play good football. No, but it's such a good start. And I wonder if what the other Pac-12 coaches will say about Deion. Pre-game and then post-game. Like if the first coach that beats them, are they going to respond back or just, they get
they want a piece
Someone
of him.
will.
They want a piece
Someone
of
will
him.
say something.
Yeah. You kidding me? I've been doing this my whole life, and he's going to come in here
right
in his first big program and actually do this?
Yeah.
No, not on my watch. There's going to be an X on his back.
Yeah.
I started this conversation a little too early on Twitter, as I found out, because nobody really responded. And if they did, they're like, no way. But Deion Sanders, NFL coach. Can you see that one day?
Yeah.
I thought I could.
Yeah.
I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities.
No. If you're successful, obviously he's connected. It feels, though, to me, I feel like he would be better at college.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that he could be an NFL coach, but I feel like what he is, I feel like he could sell anybody and come to join him.
That's true. A young, impressionable mind. He likes to be in front of the camera. You can't really be that loud, boisterous guy in the NFL. You kind of have to be just very
amongst the group,
right?
Take some bullets.
Like I think about Bill Belichick and Tomlin. They have funny quotes every now and again, but it's unintentionally funny.
Yeah,
Deion would try to be the guy.
If you had the Deion's coaching an NFL team into the Super Bowl against Bill Belichick, and they're both at a podium, what's the contrast there?
Oh my God, he's telling them how bad they're going to be.
Yeah,
it's like Muhammad Ali.
Show up there and try to play our best football. And
that's incredible.
That's what Belichick will mumble, right? And then Deion,
whatever impression that was awesome. I tried to match you, I couldn't. I was like, oh my goodness. Yeah. But you're completely right. The one thing I kind of want to see this, just because I think it would be like a great drama reality TV show. Deion Sanders, head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh gosh, that's it. Jerry brings him in.
That's reality TV, and this is coming from a Niners fan that can't stand the Cowboys.
Right.
I would watch.
Yeah,
I would check in on that mess.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, to me, also watching him and there's no offense to Colorado, which at one point went in the 90s, I think won a national championship, has been a decent program over the years, struggled lately. I was like, is this just another stepping stone? Like he'll be there for 2 years and then he bounces to whatever is perceived to be a bigger program. Michigan, Ohio State, Florida. Florida State is old school. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought Florida State was a layup for him after what he was doing. I thought they passed him. I'm like, that's a little bit of a mistake, but
now that he's seeing this.
Yeah. Well, they had a pretty good program too. They had a big win.
They did. A great win, a landmark win for them, at least recently. So I think college football is in a good spot amongst all of this chaos, though, right? Just where are these teams going? Last week, too, it became official. Cal and Stanford going to the ACC. That doesn't feel right. Oregon State and Washington State left holding the Pac-2, moving on to Mountain West, maybe. That part stinks.
It does stink, but just enjoy the Pac-12 while you have it. And you know what? It's history. It's the last season of the Pac-12. Just watch.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talent, and who knows? That talent might be on your favorite NFL team.
True.
Because they're around.
Yeah.
My goodness, they're around.
13-0 so far. Impressive. All right, we will come back. Final segment. We got some odds and ends, some funny stories to get to. Wrap things up here on it's Wednesday, right? Yeah, it is Wednesday.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know where I'm at. We're back with more after this.
The first ever NBA in-season tournament schedule is out, and our Kings have some great matchups, including national TV games against the Spurs and Warriors.
And Sacramento has won. They have risen to the occasion. And let me tell you, if you can't sense it, this place is absolutely nuts.
Listen to every game on the home of the Kings, Sactown Sports and SactownSports.com.
Get to Acura of Stockton, where precision-crafted performance is at your fingertips. Elevate your driving experience with a vehicle that's built to impress. Acura of Stockton has a great selection of new Acuras and customer service that will exceed your expectations. And right now, lease a new Acura TLX, MDX, or Integra with low lease rates available. Take luxury to a whole new level in a new Acura from Acura of Stockton. See all our inventory and specials at AcuraofStockton.com.
Did you know addiction to drugs like meth or cocaine is a disease and not a choice? But getting help is. If you have stimulant use disorder, you, your family, and friends may have a lot of questions, including where to start. Choose Change California can help. Make a change today and find a proven treatment option for you at choosechangeca.org.
If your passion is bass fishing, only one radio show has the action, information, and excitement of your favorite outdoor sport. Ultimate Bass, hosted by Tournament Bass Pro and California Outdoor Hall of Famer Kip Brown, takes you live to where the fish are biting every Saturday morning. Only Ultimate Bass feeds your passion with the latest news, products, tips, and advice from the pros. Ultimate Bass with Kip Brown, Saturday mornings at 5 a.m. on Sactown Sports 1140, part of SEP's Saturday Morning Outdoors.
I like daffodils, tulips, the big dinner plate dahlias. I loved being in the garden, but I wasn't going to be able to because I couldn't not only walk, but I couldn't really stand on my foot without being in pain. It was excruciating. So my husband said, let's go to the Good Feet store.
For over 20 years, we've helped people like Terry live the life they love without letting their feet get in the way.
This nice young man said, I think I can help you. He got the arch support and I was fitted. And I kept walking back and forth across the store. And I looked at my husband and burst into tears because it was the first time in a year that I have not had any pain in my foot. I have had no pain since the day I bought them. Now I can do whatever I want. There isn't any place on my property that doesn't have flowers blooming 365 days a year. I still can't believe it. My name is Terry, and that's my Good Feet story.
See what we can do for you with a free personalized arch support fitting at the Good Feet store.
The Good Feet store. Come in now for a free arch support fitting and test walk.
When you take the time to shop at Folsom Lake Honda, there's one thing you'll always find: happy people ready to serve you. As a family-owned and operated dealership since 2009, customer service is our #1 priority. Our customers love doing business with us, and you will too. Get an instant cash offer for your trade at FolsomLakeHonda.com. We'll buy your car whether you buy from us or not. Folsom Lake Honda is your one-stop Honda shop.
Folsom Lake Honda, yeah, your one-stop Honda shop.
Get your retirement savings to play ball with your retirement plan. Call Cap Trust today at 916-924-7527 or log on to captrust.com.
Want the best movie experience in town? Join Sactown Sports' IMAX Pass by visiting SactownSports.com and sign up today. You can win tickets to see this week's film at the Esquire IMAX Theater.
Sacramento's official home for the San Francisco 49ers.
Sactown Sports.
You know, we were talking FB in our last segment a little bit about college football. Just one, dichotomy, getting to know Troy Taylor, the coach at Sac State, who's now at Stanford. I just picture Troy and Dion meeting at center of the field. Just two completely different type of people. And both good at what they do. And you're just like, wow, these two guys are doing the same job, just in a different way.
Yeah. Isn't it just the beauty of sports? You can do things different ways and still be successful.
Yeah. And they're doing the same job.
Yeah. You could be the look at me guy, or I don't know if it's more look at me, but the overly passionate coach that's
You got to be you.
That's doing things a different way, right? That really believes in his players, that really believes in, just being a shield really for the players like we were talking about. And then you have somebody that's very tactical.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Right. And they both work. They're both successful. But I think what I've like, you've got to be you, whatever that is of you, and then try to get the most out of your players.
Yeah. If you're not you, everybody picks up on that instantly, and you lose everybody.
Right. We talked about Dan Campbell earlier. Like, he's got the speeches and the different things. And now I'd be expecting it. It's like, if he's like coming in, like,
are you okay?
And like, hey guys, let's give our bet. Like, what's wrong with you, coach?
Yeah. Are you okay?
Be you. Yeah. Yeah. You have any bad flight stories, airline stories?
I know where this is going.
Because there's seemingly an all-timer right now going around.
There is an all-timer. I do not.
Nothing that comps to this, right?
No. Oh my God. We got to talk about this.
Yeah. So you know a little bit more about the flight. Where was this flight going, originating and going to?
Okay. So out of Atlanta and going to Barcelona, Spain.
So a long flight.
Big. We're talking about a bopper plane, right? With probably 2 decks.
Like a 4-movie flight.
Yeah, maybe, 4-movie flight, probably going to be a red eye, something like that, where you had to spend a lot of time on the plane.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll just get to the point.
Yeah, because there's a lot here.
So this is, if you don't know about this, it was a big story that broke yesterday. A flight had to turn around back to Atlanta because of a biohazard situation, and it's not because of a scary one, right?
Yeah, because that's concerning right there when you hear that.
Yeah, especially with COVID and everything that's been happening. We're talking about somebody that had such bad diarrhea that they went down the aisle the entire plane length, couldn't get to the bathroom in time, and left a trail that was just deemed unsafe because there was so much. And there's
pictures.
There's pictures. There's videos. I can't believe humans can do that much.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I didn't read any more on the story. Did they miss the bathroom? Was it?
So there's a lot of secrecy to this.
Yes, which I understand.
It was a Delta flight, and I thought first and foremost, like, okay, that's really cool. They're protecting this person.
Right.
And, they don't want to embarrass them. Maybe it really was a medical emergency. Maybe they had something where they couldn't control their bowels. But it's just like more of the story is kind of coming out, and I'm really interested to hear what fully happened. And what a traumatic incident for that one person, but for everybody on board. Think about it. You're like on a 12-hour flight, and some point of it, I think they were like 3 hours in, you got to turn around and you got to smell all that. I mean, saying diarrhea on the radio is hilarious.
Right.
Diarrhea.
Right.
In the aisle.
It's not in one spot too. It's going down the aisle of the plane.
And I can relate to this in a small way because I got to fly down to Brazil to see my wife's family a whole bunch. And that's like a 12-hour flight to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's like an all-day thing. It's usually about 24 hours in the air, and you got to take one long 12-hour flight. I have a new fear now.
Yes. Not on your list before this.
Yeah. I had to worry about a whole bunch of other things. Flying, right? Everybody has those intrusive thoughts like, oh my God, what would happen if this, if that? Now I got to worry about a random person having diarrhea near me and stinking up the entire flight and becoming a biohazard situation.
Yeah.
And the air traffic control footage is really funny of like the pilot talked about
the reasoning to go back.
We have a
situation.
We have a biohazard situation.
Yeah.
We're going to have to turn around. Yeah. It's just like something like that subtle.
Which isn't normal for flights either, right? You got to, I think my only way I would have ever thought of that is like my own, like if I don't know, everybody's had a situation where they don't feel right, but I haven't had that on the plane.
No.
And so I was thinking like I'll inconvenience myself. That's fine if I can get to the restroom. But in this situation, I just can't imagine how that even happened.
Yeah, my goodness. Imagine you were the person sitting next to this person.
Oh man.
Like that. This is horror stuff.
Right.
Like this is stuff I got to think about now every single time I go on a flight. I mean, I've already kind of thought about this a lot when I was on BART traveling in every single day in San Francisco, because that happens.
Sure.
It's just another thing.
It shouldn't, but it does.
See, the thing is on trains, you could just go to the other
cart.
Go
to another cart. And this one's not clean.
Yeah, but when you're on an airplane, the air's
nowhere to go.
Recycling.
Yeah, nowhere to go.
How do you clean that up, dude?
Right.
You just got to throw away the airplane?
Yeah. And if you've already flown that far to literally get back on another plane and start over.
Yeah, and I know we're probably turning off everybody.
Sorry about that.
Everybody's turning off the radio. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. But guys, just remember, next time you're flying, if you're next to a kid or something, or it always can be just a little bit worse.
It could be.
Okay.
There's always another story.
You could have this beautiful trip to Barcelona planned out. I'm finally going to go see Spain. It's going to be so gorgeous. We got to turn around the flight. There's a biohazard situation.
Brutal. brutal story for those on that flight. Aaron Rodgers, I guess apparently on the last Hard Knocks, revealed that he truly does believe in UFOs.
Shocker.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
I wonder what happened when he was in the
dark room.
The dark retreat.
Got abducted.
Retreat.
Yeah, he got abducted by aliens.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not surprised by this. I'm a UFO believer, truther myself.
Yeah.
But this is the farthest thing from I saw that it was like a promo for the last episode of Hard Knocks, and I was like, okay.
Yeah. Of all people, Aaron Rodgers, sure.
You're telling me water's wet?
Right.
No way.
Exactly.
But it's really, really funny. I mean, his whole character arc is really hilarious if you track it back to him coming out of Cal, right? To being kind of this, I don't know, he was just a really quiet guy that was very talented, very good, was the backup for a couple of years in Green Bay and just became the stud.
Yeah.
And now he's talking about like ayahuasca retreats.
Yes.
He's talking about aliens. He's going on Joe Rogan. He's doing crazy stuff. Like I did not see this coming.
Yeah. He I heard it makes him look good in the Hard Knocks. I actually heard Nathaniel Hackett looks good in this. Like the guy who got a lot of grief from being in Denver.
He does.
Looks pretty good in this.
He does. Yeah. He's got some funny stories there. So tune in if you want. It's okay.
Well, FP, this was fun. I'm glad with good news today. Bosa is back. We can expect him on Sunday, and the NFL is here tomorrow.
Oh, let's go. I'm so excited.
Let's go.
Thanks for having me. I'm just having a great time.
Yeah.
Every single time we're on air.
I know. It's been fun, and then we'll see you soon.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. Well, that's it for us. Our thanks again to Jerry Dulac for joining us earlier in the show. If you missed anything from the show, go back to KHK.com. You can check it out in the podcast. Thank you to Jay. For FP, I'm Jason. Have a great night. We'll talk to you soon here on Sactown Sports. See ya.
Trying to find out where to catch your favorite team's games?
Are you a fan of the Kings?